Welcome to the stream. Happy Friday, everyone. Today we are going to continue Winds of Change. So, where we last left off, we had another heart-to-heart moment with Ulrich, and we made it to the Rebellion HQ. Right after deciding which pirate faction we're gonna side with during this. Oh, I guess we went right in because I clicked on it on the file once. So yeah, here we are. At the end of the last stream, we began Act 3, and I immediately had my second heart-to-heart with Ulrich, which was very romantic and nice. And now, I guess we'll chat with everyone else before we continue with the story. And character not in your party. Oh, I was looking at this and noticed that there was a 6th character, and I guess we can't do this yet because we have not met this character yet. But we can't have heart-to-hearts with the others, so let's have a heart-to-heart with Dominic first. Hope you guys are having a good day today. I'm having a good day. I enter Dominic's personal quarters and see him sitting on his bed. He's gripping something in his hand. It looks shiny and metallic. I take a few steps forward, making my presence known to him. He immediately jerks in fright, startled by my entrance. Looking away from me, he wipes his eyes with haste. He's wearing a wide smile by the time he looks back.
Oh, hey there. Just keeping up my habit of not being receptive, I suppose. If I knew you'd be here so fast, I would have put out some food.
He stands up and walks to the nearby table. After placing the object he was holding on it, he lets out a soft laugh. I look at it when I get the chance. It appears to be some kind of brooch.
I trust our HQ is to your satisfaction. Hopefully the rebels have been treating you with respect. That blade strap to your back pretty much gives you away. Let me know if anybody acts out of turn. I won't hesitate to put them in their place, you know. You're our honored guest, and should be treated as such.
Putting them in their place, let me watch. That's a funny one. Of course, I'll keep you in the loop.
I appreciate it. It's hard to keep tabs on everything nowadays. I'm trying my best, but so much slips through my grasp.
He pulls out 2 chairs and proceeds to sit down. Taking the side closet to the brooch he laid down, he looks up at me.
Care to join me? I wouldn't mind getting to know you a little better. You're more than just a seer, after all. It's rude of us to treat you like some sort of symbol. I know some of my troops do that to me since I'm the general, but there's more beneath the surface. So much more.
I nod and take a seat in the chair opposite of Dominic. He smiles and leans forward, displaying an attentive pose. His lack of speech makes me realize that it's my turn to speak. I tell him everything I can, pretty much summing up my life. I tell him how I met Fortem and Valesa, and how we grew up. Most importantly, I tell him about the loss of our parents. As soon as he hears that story, I can see him tense up. He reaches for the brooch and clenches it tightly in his hand. After a few moments of holding onto it, he starts to relax.
The occupation. We all lost something special that day. some of us lost far more than others. What an unlucky day to be in Mazea, huh? Your parents could have easily avoided that mess. Mine, however, well, not so much. It's complicated. I don't remember what my parents did exactly. I think they owned some sort of tavern or restaurant. It's odd how I remember little else but the chaos.
He slumps down in his chair, his posture emanating sorrow.
I wouldn't normally tell anybody this, but you're special. Oh, not really special, but you caught me holding on to it.
He holds out the boat, and I get a clear look at it for the first time. It's a floral pattern, clearly feminine. I'm curious why he fancies it so much.
This brooch? It used to belong to my mother. She loved it. I made sure to retrieve it from her body after the occupation.
He scoffs before shaking his head.
I remember the piles of bodies, hundreds of them lining the town square. The days after the occupation were horrid. Corpses as far as the eye could see. Luckily, I knew exactly where they kept my mother's body, so I went straight to it. How did I know? Well, maybe I'll tell you another time. Just know that this brooch means more to me than anything else. When I hold on to it, it takes me back to simpler times, you know? I don't tell anybody because they need me to be strong. You can't win a war with sentiment after all. I have a certain image to maintain.
He looks at me with a smile.
But I feel I can be myself around you. You have the same burden, the same appearance to keep up. When we're together, I just feel like I can be myself.
A toast to being ourselves.
If I had something to toast with, I'd agree. Maybe next time we can share a nice drink. I mean, hopefully this isn't the last time we do this. And sorry for venting about the occupation. It's not exactly the most cheery subject, right? Just felt right to open up to you some more.
He stands up and pushes the chair back in. I guess this was my signal to leave for now. I stand up and offer my hand for shaking. He does nothing, and I'm left looking like a fool. Really? This isn't the first time he's refused to shake my hand. Rather than comment on the matter, he changes the subject.
Let's meet in the war room whenever you're ready, Seer. This might be your last resting day for a while, so spend it wisely.
He smirks and sees me out of his room. It was nice to learn more about him and his past. Rather than being the general, he's becoming a friend. Minus that awkward moment of him not shaking my hand, but... oh well. I still find it interesting that they're still giving me the romance options even though I'm with Ulrich. Maybe it is acceptable to have more than one romance in this game. And I do want to reiterate that it's very cool that they allow that, and I'm all for it, with consent of course. In fact, some of the stories that I've written personally, I have a hero with like two partners. The three of them being together or intimately, it's wholesome. Let's go see Valesa next. I enter Valesa's room and see her pacing around. She looks like she's in deep thought, so I clear my throat. It was enough to get her attention, and she turns to me with a smile.
Oh, hey, Seer. I was just thinking about stuff. So much has happened since we got here. I'm still trying to find a way to save Valinor. I found a few books, but nothing too promising. In fact, some scholars doubt that the idol even helps. They say it's just a superstition or something. But how else do you explain East Crown? Such a harsh and sudden climate change. And how would you explain Alorinthia, for that matter? Was it destined to always be an arid wasteland? The spirits must have something to do with it. But there's a part of me that hopes they're right. If the spirits weren't keeping us warm, then we're fine. Nothing bad will happen to Valinor at all, right? I can't believe I'd say something like that. All my life, I've been raised to believe in the spirits, but now, the best thing to do is throw that belief away? It's been over 20 years since the idol went dark. I can't say that I've seen Valinor get any colder. There's more to this. There has to be. If they don't protect the land, then what does an idol do? They need to have some sort of purpose, right? All of that energy packed in one small thing. Anyway, I need to study more. I'll get back to you on that in the future.
She smiles, yet gives off concern at the same time. It's good that she was thinking about this kind of stuff. Remaining resolute in these circumstances was admirable.
This HQ is a pretty nice place, huh? I'm surprised that those suits of armor built this. Look, there's a bed here. Why would they need that? Dominic says they want to live again, but there must be more to it than that. It's so intricate and clearly built for an army. I really think they wanted to help us out. That's why they built this place the way it is. They must have known what was going to happen. But that also means they're defying the Triumvirate. What if we could use their own honor guard against them? Though, to be honest, I still feel a bit hesitant using that term. After what they've done to us, there's no honor left to protect. They've condemned the souls of so many victims to servitude. I guess it was only a matter of time before they rebelled too.
She sighs and sits down on the bed. I slowly walk over and sit down beside her.
Look at me. All business as usual. Maybe people are right. Maybe I need to unwind. Life can't be any fun if you never take a break, right?
Yeah, you need to take a break.
I know. But I wouldn't know where to start. There's so much on my to-do list. I guess I should start from the top, huh?
She motions to the table. There's a bottle of wine on it.
Fortum has been bugging me about this for a while. I guess a drink or two will do plenty to help me unwind. Want to keep me company? It's better than staying alone.
I nod, and we move from the bed to the table. She pops open the bottle and pours each of us a glass. However, she doesn't sip. She seems hesitant.
Shouldn't we have a toast or something? I mean, we're supposed to drink for a cause, right? I'm new to this, so I'll let you do the honors here.
Here's to a brighter future for all of us.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
We each take a sip and begin to while away the hours. Okay, I like to imagine that Ulrich has become an influence on the seer, and he chugs down the wine while Valessa just sips on it. That is a funny image. I help get her mind off of work, and we talk for a long time. After that, I see myself back to the crew quarters, happy. Cool. 1 second. I want to see if I can, line this up better. As you can see, I'm slowly but surely trying to make my streams look better. Like, I want to try add thin black border around the window capture. That way, the video footage looks a little better. Right, let's see Fortem next. I enter Fortem's room and see him sitting at the table. He's engrossed in a book. It almost looks like he's studying. I take a few steps forward and announce my presence to him.
Oh, hey there. I was just studying. Valessa gave me lots of notes about being a scribe. Not that I don't know all of it. It's just nice to brush up. Though I'm worried that sword will put me out of business. Visions while you're awake? You'll always know they're visions. Kinda puts my ability to tip you off in the garbage, doesn't it? But you won't have that sword forever. Until then, I study. Honestly, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. I miss my house, and all the little things like that. You take them for granted, and then they're gone. I just hope Valessa finds a way to save Valenorth. She seems to be taking this elder business seriously. But I wouldn't have it any other way. The elder needs to be serious all the time. Being in charge of a nation, that's incredible. She might just be our youngest elder ever. I think that's pretty cool. We're all making history. I'm the first scribe to ever operate outside Valenorth. Anyway.
He smiles and stands up on the table. Looks like he's been keeping himself busy.
We have something important to talk about. I spoke to Pro, and he gave me some spending money. So next time I get the chance, I'm buying that climbing gear. And I expect you to become my apprentice, Seer. I'll show you the ropes, and then we'll climb the Grand Tree. Hopefully we have time for one last trip before the final battle.
He crosses his arms and gives me a sly smirk.
If you get good enough, then we can get competitive. It'd be nice to have a rival. Gives me the drive to improve. I need that extra push if I'm gonna make it to the top. I just haven't had much time to practice my climbing. I hope I'm not rusty when the time comes. That'd suck. Climbing the Grand Tree has always been my life's goal. The first time I attempt it, I want to make sure I succeed. And they say the best way to learn is to teach somebody else. So you better prepare for some rigorous training. We're doing this.
It seems like he's not about to take no for an answer.
Oh, sorry. My mind is all over the place. Thanks for coming to visit me, Seer. It means a lot. It really does. I guess you better head back to Domic. Isn't he waiting for you in the war room or something? At least, that's what I heard. He sure loves to work.
He smiles and then takes steps back towards the table. But before he gets there, he stops in his tracks and turns around. He really was scatterbrained today, wasn't he? Is everything okay?
There's one more thing I wanted to ask you. I just forgot. Or maybe I was too embarrassed. Remember what Domic said about the Honor Guard? They're powered by the spirits of occupation victims. I know Valessa was thinking the same thing. About our parents. Do you think they're still alive? Down here? Trapped in that armor?
I'm not sure what to think, to be honest.
Understandable. You're on the fence. It's something we can talk about more as a group. Valessa believes they're trapped in there. I know it. I saw it in her face. Back in the tunnels. And to be honest, I feel the same way as her. We can free them. I just have no idea how. Maybe it has something to do with that sword of yours. I should probably get back to my studies, though. Either way, I guess we'll find out soon enough.
He gives me a quick smile before returning to his books. It's admirable how much he's studying, given the circumstances. I decided to leave him be for now and go about my business. Oh, there honestly wasn't much going on with that heart-to-heart. It probably would have been different if I had been in a relationship with Fortem. Well, that leaves Pro, so let's talk to him. I enter Pro's room and see him sitting down. He's hunched over a piece of paper, scribbling notes down on it. It appears to be some sort of legal-looking document. An open bottle of wine sits next to him, and it's still full. 2 wine glasses sit on the table, on opposite sides of each other. Upon hearing my entrance, he looks up at me and smirks.
I knew you'd come sooner or later. Good thing the wine didn't get too warm. Have a seat. This is some good vintage stuff.
I pull out the chair and sit across from Pro. As soon as I sit down, he starts pouring us some wine. It's a dark crimson red and appears to be quite thick. I wonder if this is the same wine that Ulrich bought earlier.
At least that's what the guy told me. I just asked for their most expensive wine. That job from before? I made more than I thought. I asked myself what I should do with all of it. I mean, there was a ton to spare even after buying food. All I could think of was share a drink with my new friend. So, here we are. Hopefully it's something you enjoy. I'd hate to buy you a treat you didn't like.
It's more than enough. You didn't have to.
Of course I didn't. It's a gift. Kinda loses its meaning if I have to do it. I wanted to get things off to a better start, you know? Last time we hung out, I didn't really get the chance. I was worried I'd scare you away when you found out what I do. It's dirty work, but it helps us survive. Somebody has to do it, right? There's a big difference between me and a regular swindler, though. I do it because we need to survive. They do it for fun and riches. After the war is over, I won't need to do this stuff anymore. Trust me, I long for that day to come. I want to just kick back and work on my writing. Right now, I only have time for this kind of stuff.
I can honestly relate. I've kind of had a little bit of writer's block, which is why I've been playing more video games in my free time instead of working on my book. But I'll keep working on Guardian Tales soon. I just need some inspiration first. He motions to the paper he was writing on and sighs.
Organized blackmail, pretty much. That guy I mentioned last time? I was able to bribe him. He gave us tons of money to hide his growing misconduct. Of course, that makes it sound so bad, but you always need to get everything in writing. So we found a better way to word it. Listen to this. I offer Pro this sum of money in exchange for discretion. See? Doesn't sound too much like shady business, does it? Information is a huge market, and so is stopping the flow of it. Everyone is so caught up on doing stuff to make money, and here I am able to make it all by staying my hand. You just need to think outside the box a bit, Seer. Anyway, enough about that. We should talk about the important stuff. How are you enjoying the new HQ so far?
It's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Although I really hesitate to call it new. We basically lived here before getting the deed. It was more of a formality than anything. Anyway, that's not really important. I'm glad that you like it. We're stuck here.
We continue to talk while taking slow sips of wine. The atmosphere here is a lot better than back at the tavern, and it feels like we're getting to know each other far more.
Honestly, I'm having a really great time. It's not often I get to put everything on pause, but right now, I don't have a care in the world. If we have more time, want to do this again? I mean, time might be pretty scarce in the future, but what little time I have, I'd totally spend with you.
If you supply the wine, I'm down.
Well, not this particular wine, but sure. This was just a special occasion for me, you know? Wine with the seer. Not everybody gets to do that. But I don't mean to stroke your ego or anything like that. Big heads don't win wars. It's more like big minds. Of course, that sword is sure gonna help out a lot.
We keep drinking until the wine is all gone. It's just casual conversation, nothing too intense. And once we're done, Pro stands up and yawns.
I guess this is it then? For now, of course. It's getting late. You shouldn't keep Domik waiting too long. As much as I hate to cut this short, I mean, it's nice to just push aside all responsibilities. Let's make a habit of it. It'll be like a ritual of ours.
He smiles, and I stand up, ready to leave. But I guess he's not ready to see me off just yet. Running forward, he offers me a firm handshake,
Thank you, Seer.
And with that, he's back to his own business. Sitting at the table, he's lost in that letter once more. I leave the door with a smile on my face. I'm glad we got along. Me too. Alright, that's all the heart-to-hearts. So... if I go to the war table, that will proceed with the story. Before I do that, though... why are there candles so close to the bed? I can understand wanting to be warm, but fire hazard much? Maybe I'd blow them out if things got too concerning. Yeah, lit candles by bed? No thanks. There's a bunch of scrolls and books on top of this shelf. They must have belonged to the previous owner, Shane. As Dominic mentioned, this used to be his quarters. A bit odd to give them away if he's still alive, though. After investigating a bit more, I find his journal. Last entries regarding his upcoming mission.
Shane's journal. Dominic has tasked me with something risky, but I know I can pull it off. I'd never let him down, and I truly owe him my life. He wants me to get caught on purpose. I know, it sounds stupid, but if I can get behind enemy lines, my insight could be invaluable. We know a lot about their castle, but we still know next to nothing about the Triumvirate themselves, let alone the forces of the Inquisition. This is my chance to expose them. So many questions, finally answered. I'll have to brush up on my acting and make it look like I'm actually getting caught. That'll require some planning, but I'll make sure that it seems natural. They'll likely starve me, or torture me, or worse. But I'll endure it. It's nothing new to me. I've endured it all in the past before Dominic saved me and took me in. I'll survive it again for our cause, and for him. All for him. Shane.
So he was scared, but loyal to Dominic. I think Dominic isn't the type to take advantage of that. I'm sure Shane would carry out his goal just fine. Definitely. Yep, that was the book I needed to find. There's a table lined with pretty much everything I need. It seems like this one was equipped with stuff for a long stay. However, something told me I wouldn't get to make much use of it. My training regimen would likely be intense. Early to rise and late to sleep, I could tell. That's everything here. These doors are blocked by countless crates and supplies. I guess there's nothing of purpose behind those doors. It seems that only the library and barracks are important. However, Dominic also mentioned the crew quarters and war table. One of the doors in this massive room must lead deeper inside. I almost have a hard time believing those suits of armor made this. Yeah, I did skip a few party banters, and that's because things just got so interesting that I couldn't help but rush through. So yeah, I'll backtrack and have some conversations I did not have with my party members yet.
Hey.
starting with this. What do you think about Ulrich?
Ulrich is probably my favorite person so far. I mean, he gave me free money earlier. Free! It's all thanks to him that I got to taste a Mazayan apple. That's the one thing I was looking forward to. He's been nothing but friendly since we met him. Sure, he seems strong, but he's really gentle.
A gentle giant.
Who would have thought that a guy like him has a soft side? Either way, yeah, Ulrich has been great. He's teaching me a lot. Maybe one day I might even learn how to use a greatsword like him.
What are your thoughts on Pro?
I didn't trust him at first, but he's growing on me. I know he does a lot of shady things, but only out of necessity. I have no doubt in my mind that after the war is over, he'll change.
What do you think of Dominic?
He's so cool! I love being around him. I want to learn to be more like him, if I'm honest. Everybody respects him and follows his directions. He's going to make a fine leader after this is over. I actually doubted the rebellion, but he convinced me. This cause is in perfect hands. We're going to do this.
Yeah. What do you think of Mazeo so far?
It's crazy! I don't know what to think. Just when I'm comfortable, something new is thrown at us. The markets, the residential districts, and the docks? Valenorth is pretty much the same no matter where you are. To see things so different? That's a real shocker for me. I'm not sure what my favorite part has been so far. If I had to choose, though, I'd say the residential district. Being able to live free from the noise and free of work? That's like a dream come true. Everywhere is so noisy. I assume you get used to the noise, but it's still there. You know what I mean, right? You just learn to ignore it. I'd rather not have to do that. It'd make things way easier.
How do you feel about the rebellion?
I feel great. There's not much to say. We have everything we need in order to win. I can't wait to see our new HQ, our new home.
Right, that's clear. Now let's talk to Pro.
Hey,
Anything else you can tell me about Mazeo?
not really, to be honest. You've already seen pretty much all it has to offer. It's constantly busy, and it never really stops. I can't even imagine living close to the docks. They work overnight, so it'd be too loud to sleep. The best places are either Grizz's area or our HQ. So maybe we can talk more about that once you see it. It's so silent underground you can hear almost everything. Makes it pretty easy to sleep. If you get the time, that is.
How often do you walk this far?
Well, pretty much every day. Except for the last couple of weeks since I was in Valenorth. It's not too bad once you get used to it. I absolutely adore walking. It just takes some getting used to, that's all. Sometimes when I have it in me, I can even sprint. Running to the market from our HQ is pretty intense. Nobody is interested in doing it with me, though. I need a workout partner to keep things interesting, you know? Everybody else defines working out as sparring in the barracks.
Yeah, working out definitely should be more than just sparring in the barracks. Pro's got the right idea. I think that's all I'll talk with him. I think that's all I want to talk about with him for now. Okay, I think I missed something at the docks. Yeah, I missed talking with,
Hey,
Felisa. What do you think about Ulrich?
he's the strongest person I've ever met. I'm sure he'll be protecting us a lot in the future. I don't really have anything bad to say about him. He can be stern, but he has the best intentions. I mean, he has no patience for wasting time. Him and Fortune make an interesting combo.
But he's with me. But yeah. How are things between you and Fortem?
Pretty good, actually. I was worried. You know, about some of the choices you had to make. We've never really let them get between us, though. Unless there's something he's not telling me, but I doubt it. He's always been fully open with me in the past. I wouldn't worry about anything at all, Seer.
What do you think of Mazeo so far?
It's interesting, to say the least. It's a lot busier than I thought it would be. It makes Valenworth look dead by comparison. I'm actually longing for that peace again, though. This place is chaotic. There's so much going on. Hopefully the Rebel HQ will be a bit like home.
It already is. I don't remember if I examined stuff in this area.
Wow, that ship is so cool! Will our ships be like that, Dominic?
Of course, we have only the best. Actually, ours might be better.
Why is that?
Pirates put more care into their ships. They don't just work on them, they live on them. The other people have homes to go back to.
So pirates are homeless?
Well, not exactly. A ship still counts as a home, they just share it with their crew.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So ours will be even fancier than that? That's pretty hard to imagine. I'm excited.
Yeah, just be very careful. Pirates are super protective of their homes. If you broke something, well, let's not think about that.
Yikes.
Better be careful then. Now I remember, I didn't look at everything in this area.
What are these?
Traps.
Traps for what?
Seafood.
Oh, we don't have that back in Valenworth. How do these things work exactly?
Well, these ones are mainly for lobster. It traps them inside and they're emptied out every day. Once a week, they're sold off in the market square for food.
So you capture them only to eat them?
Yeah?
I don't know how I feel about that. They're just minding their own business down there. Why should we snatch them up and kill them just like that?
Because they taste good.
That's the best reason, because they taste good. There are people that enjoy seafood, Valesa, and it looks like Ulrich is one of those people. Gotta make a note of that. Gotta get seafood for my man. There's a bunch of houses lining the docks. They look fancy. Workers come and go, telling me that it's a place of business. Near the back, I noticed that the houses are more run down. Pirates move back and forth between these houses. I guess society only left them the scraps to work with. Hopefully things would be better for them soon. Same thing. It's a massive bridge on the other side of the docks. According to Dominic, that's the bridge we've been traversing. At the other end of the bridge, I can see an old building.
Looks pretty impressive, doesn't it? Museo is largely above water, so bridges are common. But there's a couple of main bridges, architectural wonders. We'll actually be crossing Museo's biggest bridge. I hope you're not scared of heights here.
He smiles and motions towards the very bridge I was inspecting.
Our church is just on the other side. I can't wait for you to see it. It's amazing. Just stick close to me. It won't be too long.
Same thing. Okay, I'm glad it went back to us to hear that seafood, Chad. That should be it. I'm all caught up. I'll override my save files since there wasn't anything significant and for me to either. There wasn't a significant reason for me to make a separate save. Alright. Now that we're caught up, let's go to the war table. Act 3 is a long series of cutscenes with no side content. Please make sure you have sufficient time set aside to watch. Wow. Okay, I appreciate that warning. Let's do it. I enter the war room and see Dominic standing over the table. He's moving wooden figures from place to place, forming a strategy. I guess this was my first time seeing him in action. It was impressive.
I'm glad you came, Seer.
He talks to me while he works, displaying grace and lack of effort. It's almost like this is second nature for him. What was he planning? I noticed a map on the table with figures scattered about different regions.
So tomorrow we'll begin your training with the Blade of Exodus. But in addition to that, we'll have to train you in swordplay as well. I think Ulrich should be free. I can't really think of a better teacher.
He eyes the scabbard on my back and the base of the sword.
We think that the more you use it, the more you'll tolerate it. If you're like me, you got overwhelmed the moment you touched it. It's about adapting. Slow exposure will help you become stronger. But we're also in a rush, so I've worked out a schedule for you. It balances both exposure therapy as well as combat training. There's a bit of free time in there too. You'll be needing it.
He points to a paper resting on the war table. I pick it up and start to inspect the contents. It's a detailed itinerary. I'm impressed.
Now, there's one more thing. The spirit idol we discovered is right down there. It's a bit of a walk, so I'll have to show it to you later.
He points to a small exit in the back corner of the room. It almost looks like the entrance of a cave. It stands out. They must have dug out a large portion of this room.
It's also where I chose to bury Salus, our former leader. I guess I can be sentimental when it comes to that stuff. It just seemed like the right thing to do, you know? Now, let's go over your...
Before he can continue, he's immediately cut off. Pro runs into the room, panting heavily, clearly exerted. But there's a hint of fright and concern on his face, too.
Dominic, come quick.
Pro, what's going on? I'm in the middle of a meeting here.
The meeting can wait, Dominic, please. Grizz is here and he's causing a commotion.
What? Alright, let's go. We should probably talk to him, Seer. I'm pretty sure I know what he's after.
We all nod to one another, and Pro starts leading the way. Whatever was coming our way, I'm sure Dominic could handle it. We run to the atrium to handle the situation as fast as we can. When we arrive, I see Ulrich standing imposingly before Grizz. A good choice. Ulrich could fight off almost anybody.
Stand down, Grizz.
I only want to see Dominic. We had a deal and it's his turn to deliver. Don't forget, I'm the only reason you're down here.
Grizz looks back towards us, noticing our entrance.
Please, Ulrich, stand aside. Insubordination isn't your style.
He tilts his head back towards Dominic. Ulrich turns and looks, noticing that we're here. Saying nothing, he turns around and walks away. He rests his back against the wall and simply watches. It seemed like almost all of the tensor was cut from the air. Those two men in deadlock was a scary sight to behold.
Good. Now, Dominic, it's time. Unless anybody else wants to challenge me.
Dominic takes slow steps forward, cautious not to make sudden movements. Grizz grips the handle of the hammer resting on his back, as if to threaten.
Now, Grizz, let's remain calm. I fully intend to hold up my end of the bargain. There was just some important business to take care of.
He motions towards me.
Yeah, I know. But all the pieces are in place, Dominic. Will you please take me to see it?
Dominic shovels in place, anxious.
I suppose I can rearrange my schedule a bit. Sorry if it appeared like I was going back on my word.
I'll accept that apology when you take me to the idol. I'm sure you understand. I'm past the point of buying time. And make sure you bring that new friend of yours as well.
Oh, so it was the idol he wanted? And from the way he spoke, he wanted me as well. Of course, this is all likely related to the Blade of Exodus.
Very well.
Dominic simply concedes without contest. Of course, before we can move, there's an interruption. Being a rebel was a busy life. It's always something. However, this something was far bigger than any of us imagined. Dominic looks on in shock as the young man slowly enters the room. With heavy, labored steps, they appear to be weak and tired.
Shane? Shane, you're back!
Dominic runs forward and Grit steps back. He seems to understand what was going on too. Shane had come back from his trip to Balteas?
Dominic.
Shane, I can't believe this! I was so worried we lost you!
Everyone watches in awe.
Did they hurt you? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Pro, go grab some water, quick!
No, Dominic, I'm fine. Don't worry about it, Pro.
Pro stops in his tracks upon hearing this. If anything, it just looked like Shane needed some rest.
I'm sorry, Dominic.
For what? Oh, don't be silly, Shane. I'm the one who should be apologizing here. It was foolish of me to send you into danger like that.
Shane steps forward and wraps his arms around Dominic. Everyone seems so relieved, and all of the tension is gone. Even Grizz cracks a smile as he watches this happy reunion. Shane takes advantage of our Lord Guard. Reaching into his pocket, he pulls out a dagger. Before any of us can react, the damage is done? Dominic screams and stumbles back in shock. Shane was fast. His abdomen is covered in wounds. He shakes, blood spilling on the floor at an alarming rate.
Shane?
Ulrich is the first to react, and he tries to restrain Shane. However, it's no use. He's far too agile to be caught.
Shane, what have you done?
He doesn't respond and grabs a bow and some arrows from a nearby weapon stand. All of us are panicking, not sure what to do. Could Ulrich take on Shane alone? Within a few moments, though, that is the absolute least of our worries.
Sophie, now!
Immediately after, Sobi enters the room from the entrance to the tunnels. There's a man in the right suit of armor with him, too, like the honor guard. What was he doing here? This was definitely coordinated. We're in trouble.
Sometimes I wish it wouldn't be so easy. Look, Halen, even the suits of armor are still alive. All the time in the world, and they didn't even act.
Pitiful.
They both look at all of the honor guard in the atrium. Minding their own business, they just stumble around. There's a lot, but they pose no real threat to anybody. Zoe steps forward, looking at all of us. Ulrich grips his blade and stands in the way.
Leave.
Or else, what?
I'll kill you.
So dramatic, Ulrich. You've certainly grown. Where was that bravado 500 years ago?
Wait, what? 500 years ago? Wait, can these characters live that long? Huh? Ulrich growls and grits his teeth, easily provoked. All of us are locked in place, too scared to move.
You're outnumbered. Don't test me. If Dominic dies, we'll find another leader. You've done no real damage to us, Sovi.
Is that so?
Sophie grins and raises one of his hands in the air. With a dramatic snap of his fingers, I stumble back. The blade is reacting and trembling. What's going on? There's a quick flash of white light. Wait, I know this feeling. From my vision of Valinor when he animated those suits of armor. Can he truly manipulate the blade without even touching it? He can. All hell breaks loose before I can even start to process these events. The honor guard grabs the blades and start massacring the rebels. With a simple snap of his fingers, he sent them all into a murderous rage. All I can hear is screams of agony as our forces are caught off guard. Bodies start to litter the floor, while other rebels grab weapons and fight. Grizz runs forward and grabs Domic's body, slowly dragging it away.
Seer, come with me. Let the rebels keep the enemy occupied. I have an idea, but you need to do what I say.
What about Ulrich and our friends? I nod and follow after him. I'm still not able to process anything. How would the rebellion recover from this? Within minutes, almost all of the rebels were killed. This isn't how things were supposed to happen. I look down at Domic's body, and it's motionless. A trail of blood follows me and Grizz as we flee the area. But before we can leave the atrium, Shane notices the trail. I feel a sharp pain in my chest. I suddenly drop to the floor. I can't move. I look down and notice an arrowhead protruding from my torso. He saw me in the back. That's all I can take in before everything fades away. However, with what just happened, I'm certain of one simple fact. Rebellion is no more. How did all of this happen? My gosh. Melissa and Fortin rushed to the atrium, frightened by the sound of commotion. Members of the honor guard rushed past them to carry out their brutal objective. When they arrive, a horror awaits them. It's clear that the rebellion has lost.
Oh no!
Ulrich, what's going on?
Ulrich is locked in combat with Sobi, violently swinging his sword. Sobi dodges with ease, swaying his body from side to side. When he gets a chance, he lands a harsh punch on Ulrich's chest. Falling back, Ulrich is brought onto his knees. He pants heavily, trembling as he rises back up.
I don't hide behind a sword like you and your seer. Now tell me, Ulrich, how does it feel to lose to me? To see everything around you crumble and fall?
He laughs, a maniacal cackle echoing through the halls.
Perhaps now you regret changing sides.
Never. This isn't over, Sobi. Stand back, both of you.
He waves his arm dismissively as Abelisa involts him. However, it was already too late, and the honor guard is closing in on them. Ulrich turns and tries to help them, but a blow to the back of his head knocks him down. Don't do this to me! Don't do this to me! He can only watch through blurred vision as the honor guard overpowers them. Screams assault his ears, and they're slowly silenced. Have they been killed too? He scans the room, trying to find Pro, but he can't. Perhaps he's among the bodies. Zoe steps over and kicks Ulrich in the gut, causing him to grunt and roll over. A few moments later, he kneels down and stares Ulrich straight in the eyes.
You thought you had everything under control. Abandon Valenorth, gather your forces, and attack Balteus. It would work if we didn't have you in our grip the entire time. All we wanted was to destroy Mazeo's spirit idol, Ulrich, the final idol in all of Alestia. The sickness almost cured. I know what you're thinking, though. The vision of Valenorth? The seer saw only what the Triumvirate wanted him to see. A trick to lure every single one of you down here. It worked! And after I kill you, the seer's life and that blade will be mine. May the Triumvirate reign eternal.
Shane and Halen approach Zoe, leaving Ulrich to look up at all three. Zoe holds a hand out to Shane, who gives him his dagger without hesitation. Don't do this to me! Pressing it up against Ulrich's throat, Zoe pauses, savoring the fear in his eyes. Don't do this to me! I'm gonna quit if they kill Ulrich! I'll seriously quit this game if they kill Ulrich!
I'd ask if you had any last words, but you don't deserve this satisfaction.
Not so fast!
Everybody quickly turns to look at Pro while runs in from the tunnels. He pants heavily, having clearly run a large amount. He smirks.
Alex, do it now!
A few moments later, an army of pirates floods in from the tunnels. Yes! Oh, thank goodness! Zoe, Halen, and Shane quickly become defensive, trying to fend them off. It was enough now that they stood a chance. Their targets were clear. Using the commotion as cover, Pro rushes to Ulrich's side. He helps him get on his feet as he finally returns to his senses.
Where's everybody else? Valessa? Fortim? The Seer?
Ulrich looks down at the floor, ashamed.
It's too late.
He places a hand on Ulrich's shoulder. Shaking his head, he knows that Ulrich is wrong.
It's never too late. Come on, let's take them down. They won't get away with this. They can't.
Ulrich smiles and nods, and they quickly rush into combat. Things were starting to turn around. They were no longer outnumbered. Zoe, however, uses this commotion to sneak deeper underground. While everyone was distracted, his objective was clear. Oh, thank goodness! Oh man, this got intense. Riz carries me and Dominic into the room behind the war table. A massive spirit idol glows and radiates energy. It's beautiful. Through my faded vision, it only appears more surreal and odd. He carries me to one side of the room and rests me down. I notice that the arrow in my chest is gone, replaced with bloodied wrappings. He must have treated me during the time I just lost. But what about Dominic?
There were some supplies back in the crew quarters. I was able to treat your wound. No vital areas were harmed. It's almost like he did that on purpose. Unless you got really lucky.
He sighs and looks back at Dominic, who he had rested down on the other side.
But he wasn't lucky. I'm sorry, Seer. He's gone.
Oh.
But we can still fix this. This is what I've been wanting all along. A chance to tap into that idol's power.
He looks at the blade on my back. Reaching behind my shoulder, he undoes the scabbard. He falls to the ground, closes his eyes, and takes a deep breath.
Please, let me take your blade. This is the deal I made with Domek, to free the spirits from those suits of armor.
I look up at him, confused. Pain courses through my body, and I tremble. I grab the scabbard and hold it tightly in my hands.
Please, Seer. There isn't much time. 20 years ago, I led the occupation with Sovi. The people I killed, they're trapped in those suits of armor. If you give me the blade, I can use the power of that idol. I'll release those spirits. I'll give them the freedom they deserve. I need to do this. It's the only way I can make up for what I did. And without the Honor Guard, this battle is won. Your allies can easily fight against Sovi and his men. There's still a chance to win here. We need to take it.
He looks down at the floor, and his ears fall flat.
I know why I recognized you and your friends back at my office. During the occupation, There were people that looked just like you. I was just following orders. Trust me, I regret what I did. All of it.
Wait, does he mean?
Your parents, they were in Museo during the occupation, right? It's more than coincidence. This must be happening for a reason. They aren't dead, Seer. They're trapped in those suits of armor.
I noticed the glisten of tears forming in his eyes.
Sent there by me. Let me free them, Seer. It's what they would want. It's what they all want.
The grip on the scabbard tightens. He killed our parents? I can tell he's truly sorry, but this is just too much to take in. The pain in my chest gets more intense, and I wince.
Here, I've got you.
He wraps one arm around me, slowly helping me to my feet. Together, we take slow steps across the room, towards the idol. I look at Domic's body in the corner of my eye, still and lifeless.
I stopped serving the Triumvirate the moment I got the chance. Being forced to live in those suits, forced to wear their colors. Nobody should have to suffer such a fate. We can fix this.
As we get closer to the idol, the earth starts to shake. There's a massive reaction coming from my blade. Chris holds me tighter as the tremors get more intense.
I picked up some information when I served the Triumvirate. That blade has the ability to bend its power to your will. It all depends on what the wielder wants it to do. They want power, and so it gives them an army. We want freedom, and so that's what we'll have. Please, Seer, let me do this. It's all I ask.
Each step we take causes emotion to well up within me. It's all too much. It's all happening too fast. No matter how hard I think, I have no idea what to do.
I know it will kill me, but I've come to terms with that. It's a fitting punishment, considering what I've done.
We reach the idol. I'm almost blinded by its light. I understand that Chris wants his redemption, but his crimes against the world and our families were awful. I could always tap into the power of this idol myself. I would have at least had Fortinville if I sided with Grizz. Some crimes aren't forgivable. Is this one of them?
Please.
Oh my gosh. Dominic. I suppose it was. He truly felt bad for his actions in the past. With a slight nod, I hand him the scabbard, and he smiles.
Thank you, Seer. Stand back. This could get dangerous.
Doing as instructed, I stand there and watch him act. I need a back against the wall, since the pain is still so intense. Without spiritual energy inside of him, the blade would kill him quickly. I'm glad that he thought it was a worthy sacrifice. Freeing the spirits and destroying the honor guard in the tunnels, the tables would be easily turned. We'd come back from this defeat. He hesitates.
So I guess this is it.
He closes his eyes.
I'm sorry, everybody. I hope you can learn to forgive me. In your final moments, know the Triumvirate will fall.
I see him take the blade out of the scabbard, but after that, I see only white. That blinding light. Grizz grunts, clearly overpowered by the blade. The ground begins to shake even more. It's worrisome, since we're in a cavern. If it caved in, that would be the end.
You're free now. And so am I.
The light slowly subsides and my eyes start to adjust. When they do, I see Grizz stand on the ground, clutching the blade. The idol starts to flicker, its light slowly growing dim. Was it over? I slowly walk over to him, but the tremors continue. The violent shake, I'm thrown on the floor. Crawling over, I do my best to reach the blade. Will the honor guard fall? Was this truly the end of this nightmare? I hope that's the case, as I arrive at the blade. Stabbing it into the ground, I slowly use it to help myself up. It's hard because of the tremors, and I almost lose my balance. But with enough effort and strength, I'm finally back on my feet. It doesn't overpower me like before. This time, I expect different. Like Grizz said, it bends to the will of the wielder. Everything has changed. I put the scabbard back on, and I hold on to the sword with a slight grin. I'm in control of it now. Oh, Grizz. I stand there, using the blade as a crutch. With the ground shaking so violently, it's hard to stand up. I'll need to go back to the atrium. They need to know about this.
No! What have you done?
Huh? Zoe charges into the room, catching me completely off guard. He stands there, panting, looking at the idol and how it flickers. With a grunt of rage, he starts running at me, ready to attack. Because of the trembling earth, however, he stumbles a bit. I use this to my advantage and jump out of the way. Landing with a quick roll, I'm back on my feet. We circle around each other, both hesitant to attack. I hold out the blade, as if to threaten him.
There's so much you don't know.
He smirks and lunges forward to attack me. I hold out the blade to guard myself, but I'm not sure what happens next. With a snap of his fingers mid-lunge, the blade suddenly vanishes from my hands. A few moments later, it rematerializes in his? I don't have enough time to brace myself. It's already too late. Moments later, I'm on the floor with Zoe on top of me. So he can wield it, just like the vision showed me. Gripping the blade in one hand, he uses the other to punch me, repeatedly in my chest, causing the wound to open more and bleed. I kick and scream in agony, trying my best to withstand his harsh blows. He's smart. Soon enough, the pain is too much to fight back. I can only squirm and wince underneath him, enduring the assault. The cavern starts to crumble, and pieces falling from the ceiling.
There's no one here to save you, Seer. Your life is mine, and the rebellion is no more.
Smirking, he lowers the blade to my neck.
May the Triumvirate reign eternal.
I use all of my strength to reach up and grab the blade. Trying to push it away, I realize there's almost no point. But soon after, the blade reacts to both of our touches. Another flash of white light engulfs the entire room. The pressure is relieved from my neck, and I hear Zoe struggle. Just like we said, the blade reacts to the will of the wielder. But whose will was stronger? I raise up my other hand to grab the blade as well. I close my eyes and focus with every fiber of my being. Spirits, please do something! Save me! Save us all! The light subsides, and I see Zoe looking down at me in shock. You see the horror in his eyes. I have no idea what just happened. Perhaps the blade gave him visions, like it did for me back in Valinor. He panics and throws the blade on the ground.
So it is true. The spirit realm is...
Slowly standing up, he takes a few steps back. Looking down in my eyes, I can see sadness within him. So many conflicting emotions, all in the span of a few seconds. He scoffs and turns his back to me.
Remember my mercy, Seer. Next time, you won't be so lucky.
To my complete shock, he simply runs away. I tilt my head to the side and watch him leave. The blade rests beside me, so I reach for it, but any hope of salvation is quickly lost. It's over. As soon as Sophie leaves the room, it starts to cave in. Rubble and debris block the exit, leaving me trapped inside. I look over Domic's lifeless body and start to cry. My wound bleeds profusely and my vision slowly wanes. With my final moments, I grip the blade and pray for help. But before I slip away into nothingness, that help never comes. Oleg and Pro stand back to back, destroying the honor guard with ease. The pirates, on the other hand, keep Shane and Halen occupied. They were starting to come back from this. They could survive.
Another one down. Come on, Auric, pick up the pace. If you lose this, you'll never hear the end of it.
Oleg takes down 4 suits of armor with one swing of his sword.
Oh, we're keeping count. Then I think Alex and his crew are winning. But at least now we know who Damek chose.
I look over at Alex, who fights off Halen and Shane. He's an expert swordsman, one of the most impressive in the world. Moments later, him and his crew have the enemy surrounded. Halen and Shane pant heavily, worn out from the intense fight. But they look around at the fallen honor guard, realizing they're outnumbered. The initial strike was devastating, but the rebellion was slowly bouncing back.
Where's Sovi?
I think he's gone to the idol.
Then that means...
Before we can finish talking, the ground starts to shake. Everyone is caught off guard, stumbling around.
It does! Shane, retreat!
But Sovi...
He'll catch up later. Let's not do anything stupid.
Shane nods and they start to run away. They were cornered near the tunnels, so it's an easy escape. Oleg and Pro slowly march over, standing by their pirate allies.
What should we do? Should we chase after them, Ulrich?
No, let them go. We can't risk being led into another trap. They hit us too hard. We need to mitigate the damage.
They nod and back down.
We're a team now. We're here to help. If there's anything you need us to do, just say it. We owe Damek everything. He changed Mazeo's future.
Thank you, Alex. I have a feeling there's a lot of work to do. But before that, let's take care of the honor guard.
Roger that.
They all turn to face the suits of armor, but they're shocked. The honor guard remains perfectly still, not moving an inch. The continued shaking of the ground causes them to fall over. Hitting the ground, they shatter into pieces like an army of glass. A bright flash of red light emanates from the crew quarters. Along with that, the earth trembles with more intensity.
What's going on?
It must have something to do with the idol.
But they said Sovi was down there.
I think I saw Grizz carry Damek and the Seer down there. Sylvie wouldn't want this to happen. So that means...
They're still alive!
They must be. Come on, let's go. Alex, man the tunnels.
You got it.
They start running towards the war room, but don't make it very far. Oleg stops in his tracks as he notices movement in the corner of his eyes. Melissa informed him. They were moving! They must have survived!
Wait! Hold on! Pro, look!
Oleg points, and they both make their way over to Valessa and Fortem. Crouching down, Pro offers his hand to Valessa and Ulrich to Fortem. They help them get to their feet, and they look shaken and traumatized.
What happened? How did you survive that?
He was totally convinced that you died. I can't believe your luck. I'm surprised.
They both look at the ground, almost as if they were ashamed.
I thought they were going to kill us. But they didn't. I don't really know what happened.
They didn't attack us. They pushed us to the ground. It's almost like they wanted us to stay out of harm's way.
Yeah, we wouldn't have stood a chance in combat. I don't know why they wanted to help, but they did.
I think I know. Never mind.
She quickly changes the subject.
Where's the seer? Ulrich, take us to see him.
Right, of course. They must be by the spirit idol. Damek too, it's not that far. Follow me.
Deciding not to question Providence, they all follow Ulrich. In a time like this, it was best not to doubt your blessings. However, Valessa remains a few paces behind, thinking.
Mom? Dad? Thank you.
Oh. My vision slowly fades back in, much to my surprise. I've been on the verge of death for what seemed like an eternity. I'm strong. My will and the power inside of me refuse to give in. Pain radiates from the wound in my chest, but I'm almost getting used to it. Sophie's attempts to make it more fatal had clearly failed. Or did they? I remember the thought I had in my mind the moment I faded away. I wanted to be saved. I wanted to make it through this alive. Did the blade have that much power? Could it have saved me? I backed myself up against the wall and lay against it. Then I scanned the room. Wait, what's that? A hulking shadow is on the other side of the room, whispering to itself. Atomic's body's still on the floor. Who could that be? I look at the exit to the room. It's still caved in. Impossible. There was no one else in this room with us. Their ears perk up. They must have heard my movements. Quickly turning to face me, they take heavy, slow steps. Stumbling from side to side, it's almost like they can't balance. I can't see their face. My vision is too blurry. But when they make it to my location, they kneel down. While normally I would be fine, I seem to feel at ease. Whoa! They reach forward and place a hand on my chest. I hadn't realized it, but in my confusion, the pain had stopped. Or was it even there to begin with? Maybe I just felt it in my head. They let go. They shake their head dismissively. A flicker of light from the dying idol illuminates their face. When I see them, I ask who they are, but get no straight answer.
Gaze into the abyss, after a lifelong journey, and plead. Beg for the answer to your most undying question, and tell me what would frighten you most, being left in silence or hearing an answer.
I don't understand, and I shake my head. Something tells me that they look familiar to me. I'm too delirious to think straight, so this thought goes nowhere.
The pursuit of an answer is more defining than the answer itself, for no truth can compare to the truth we've conjured in our head. Hearing an answer may rob us of purpose. We prefer silence. But sometimes, the silence can be maddening. We can convince ourselves that purpose is not important, self-destructive. Purpose breeds strength and victory. We desire victory.
He stands up and holds out his hand. I grab it, and he pulls me to my feet. This is the first time I truly see him. He's covered in scars from head to toe, almost as if he endured torture or something far worse. Tattoos adorn his arm, much like those on Ulrich's body. Who was this?
We need no name. A name defines an individual. We are many, and therefore cannot be defined. This body is merely a tool. It bends to our will. We know how confused you are. It's always the same. Come with me. There's still much we need to do. Damek, right? That's the name of your leader?
He turns around and looks at Domic's body.
You said that name in your sleep. You called out to him, but only we responded. He lives. We took care of that while you slept.
Wait, he's alive? He's alive? I look over and watch his chest move up and down. He's breathing. I'm almost in disbelief at this. Oh my gosh, they saved him! But how? What happened?
We will tell you both. There is much to discuss. With the exit cut off, we have sufficient time. A funny concept time. Perhaps another day.
We walk over to Domic, and the mystery man takes slow steps again. His limbs appear stiff, as if they've been unused for a long time. I kneel down and shake Domic softly, placing my hand on his shoulder.
He should have been awake by now. His wounds were grievous. He was saved. We were limited, but we did what we could. Rise.
He says this in a demanding tone, and Domic starts to move. His eyes slowly open, and he looks at both of us as he comes to.
Sailors? Am I dead? What's going on?
Wait, that's Salus? But, oh, I laugh softly and tell him he's not dead. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, he seems to have me confused with Salus.
Salus.
Wait, his eyes are fixated on the mystery man as he says the name. I take a few steps back, confused and scared at the same time. Could it possibly be? No, there's no way. This makes no sense.
How are you alive? How am I alive?
This isn't right. Salus was dead. Oh, our elder, the rebellion's founder.
Salus, the name of this vessel. He no longer lives. Do not use this name. As we said before, no name is required. We simply exist.
I am so confused.
Please explain. I don't understand.
The man points to the center of the room.
You will have a seat. You may be satisfied. Nor perhaps not. We have some answers, but not all of them.
I reach down and help Domic up. He grunts. There are no wounds on his abdomen. There's nothing. This would require some serious explanation, and fast. I take Domic over to the center of the room, and we sit down. The other man, however, walks over to the exit and inspects it.
Trapped, as always. Do you trust your comrades? We think they are your only hope.
If they survived.
Yes.
He walks over to our location and sits down. Guess all we could do was wait to get rescued. The Rebel HQ was full of digging tools after all.
You will ask, and we may answer.
He sits in silence and waits for us to make the next move.
Who are you?
The idol is no more. Its energy was released. It may still glow, but it will soon go dim. Lifeless. Energy must be stored somewhere. Less wasteful. Much of it went into that sword you carry. Some of it was used to heal your wounds. The rest? Well, we found a vessel to use.
A vessel?
This body expired long ago. It offered no resistance and no identity. We thought it would be fitting. We desired a voice.
Who is we?
We are what you call the spirit realm. Until now, our power was stored only in objects. That, and vessels which had their own voice, like you.
He looks at me.
So, let me get this straight. The power released from the idol healed us, and it took over Salus's body so it could talk.
Correct.
So, I'm talking to the spirit realm right now.
A portion. The rest resides in his body. and the sword. However, the spirit realm is just a term you created to define us. We are more than that, and we finally have a voice in your world.
Dominic gulps, getting a little frightened.
Are you peaceful?
That is a relative term.
Are you going to hurt us?
No.
What is your purpose?
An impossible question. Do you know your purpose?
No, I guess not.
We only wish to aid you. Please do not question. It would please us greatly to see the triumvirate fall. We are their victims, just as much as you are, Domik.
Victims?
You do not know the truth of what we are. It is understandable, because we could never tell. Using this voice, we wish to make our suffering known. And using this body, we wish to enact our vengeance. If this is acceptable, we will join you after rescue. If rescue comes, that is. Until then, we talk.
Dominic nods. He's taking this very well, actually. After all, he's talking to the corpse of his former leader. But a strategist needs to adapt to change and overcome it. Or maybe he's just numb from the trauma of these events.
Of course, but you need to explain. What is the truth of the spirit realm? Were we so wrong that you needed a voice?
We do not blame you for your interpretation. Given your situation, it made perfect sense. But yes, you were wrong. Very wrong.
He and Dominic look at each other once more. I never believed this if we didn't just cheat death. But given the circumstances, we can't deny the truth. This was a living embodiment of the spirit realm. Much like the idols, but able to walk and talk as well. And if that was the case, there were no more secrets. Just what does Sovi know? I really want to know what he knows now. He would tell us everything about the spirit realm. The undying questions of our history, finally answered. What was their purpose, and why did they influence us? The answers would change everything, forever. Oh man, this is so much to take in, but at the same time, this is all so interesting. I'm really getting into this. Before I keep going though, I want to take a minute. I want to take a few minutes break. So I won't leave you hanging, Chad. I'll be back in a bit. Let's take a break. Alright, I'm back. Now we can continue. Eventually ending up in the war room, everyone looks around frantically. It wasn't much longer until they noticed the back corner of the room was caved in. Rather than digesting the current events, they searched for Dominic and the seer.
They must be down with the idol.
Can we even get down there?
Go back to the crew quarters, Fortim. You too, Valessa. Bring us some equipment. We should be able to reach them if we dig.
Of course. What should we look for?
Pickaxes, shovels, stuff like that. Anything to help us get through that rubble.
Right.
They both went off in search of supplies. It was clear the tunnels caved in, but how bad was it? They cling on to the hope that everybody survived.
Hey, are you sure you don't want to join them? Shouldn't they have some sort of protection?
No, everything will be fine. Alex and his forces are on guard. Nobody else will be coming or going.
Then what about Sovi? Do you think he's down there?
No, he's probably long gone.
But I didn't see him run off anywhere. We were all in the tunnels, weren't we?
That's the point, Pro. You don't see a man like him. He comes and goes as he pleases.
Oh, okay.
He crosses his arms, both confused and concerned.
What should we do while we wait? Are you sure you don't want me to help them?
I'm certain. We need to talk, Pro.
About what?
Let's say Domek did fall in combat. What would we do then? What's our next step?
I don't want to think about that. Losing Salus was more than enough. I'm sure he's alive. We'll find him.
But what if he's not? We need to think, Pro. Things would be in our hands.
Our hands?
Yes, we'd be the new leaders. How would we come back from this?
I don't know if we can.
That's why I sent those two away. I don't think they'd be ready to hear this. There's a very real chance that the seer is dead. If that's the case, then there's nothing we can do. We'd never be able to win this war conventionally. That blade in their power was all we had, Pro.
I don't know, Ulrich, but I feel like they're alive. They wouldn't give in so easily.
I guess we'll find out.
And we need to trust in the spirits, right? They showed Domek a vision of our victory.
But they also showed Valenorth's destruction. We know that was false. They attacked our HQ instead.
Are you saying the spirits were lying?
I don't know, Pro. It's too complicated for me to say. But something tells me that we can't trust the spirits anymore. If they come out from that tunnel, it'll be as changed men.
Mysterious man takes a deep breath before starting to talk. Dominic and I sit forward in awe, almost in disbelief at the situation. The spirit realm was using a vessel to speak directly to us. Not sure we should be honored or terrified.
The rulers of this world, the Triumvirate. Already you take up arms against them. This is good. We were unable to do so in our current state. We were trapped.
Trapped?
It all happened in the blink of an eye. Our glorious monarchy, destroyed in an instant. They showed no mercy. They showed nothing. Something happened. Something beyond words. We were simply living life, and then we were not. They forced us to watch them defile our world.
I don't understand.
Neither do we. But that is what happened. They stole our future. And our bodies. We were prisoners, bound by celestial chains as they had their way with our world.
So they didn't create Alestia?
No. But they created you, the new residents of Alestia, built in their image of perfection to counter our corrupt nature. They stole our world and our future, handing it off to you.
This is incredible!
We do not share the same opinion.
No, I meant the story! I can't believe I'm hearing this right now. We always knew there was more to this world.
This is why we needed a voice. We've suffered for eternities, unable to speak, forced to watch, and cry for help upon deaf ears.
I have a few questions.
Of course.
So, the spirit realm is more like a prison, and it held you and your people captive. Then what are these visions and idols all about? Almost all of our culture has been built around them, especially Valinor, which is where the seer comes from. Rumor has it that the Triumvirate wanted to destroy the idols.
Over time, we were forced to adapt. We changed. The idols are manifestations of our desire to reach out. They gave us the ability, however minimal, to speak with you.
The visions, you mean?
Yes, but our power was limited, and we were censored. This is why we could never tell you the truth through visions. Whenever we did, the Triumvirate made you see something else.
That's what they did this time then? We saw Valinor getting attacked and strategized about that. But it seems like their plan was always to attack us down here.
Indeed, which is why we chose not to create another idol. Instead, we chose to influence the members of their honor guard, the barracks, the living quarters, the weapons. We did it all for you. We did it so you would survive this trap and help us seek vengeance. It seems the cost was dire, but we succeeded. We shall succeed again. We wish to aid your assault on Balteus and take back our homeland.
So you come from Balteus?
We lived all over Alestia, but Balteus was our capital. The castle there housed the monarch, our king or queen. We may have been corrupt, but we lived in peace. We were happy.
What do you mean by corrupt?
We are not certain. Perhaps there is inherent evil in all of us. The Triumvirate deemed that a flaw, and rewrote the world. When your kind was first made, you were mindless slaves, forced to carry out the Triumvirate's bidding. No free will. That is a gift we gave to you through the idols we created. Slowly, our corruption merged with the purity of your kind. That was the first step. After that, we created seers, beings capable of hearing our plight and leading insurrections. To this day, all have failed. We were not strong enough.
Wait, I know where this is going.
The man stands up, motioning his arms to suggest that we do the same. Dominic and I both do as instructed, dusting ourselves off while looking up at him.
Yes. That is why we gave the seer all of our power. Enough to wield that blade against your creators and our captors. The timing seemed correct. It is a gamble, but with favorable odds. However, there is another matter at hand. There is no more spirit realm. The idols are all gone, and the power resides within us and that blade. The power within you, Seer, is immense. You carry on our legacy. So now, I will call you what you are.
He immediately kneels down and looks at the floor. I wasn't mistaken. Looks like he's swearing fealty.
Rightful heir to the throne of the monarchy, my king. I will serve you in this fight to take back our world, and together we will all be free from their grip.
King?
We exchanged glances, confused and shocked. Power inside of me made me heir to the throne? Knowing the truth of the spirits was enough, but this? This is too much. I take a few steps back, overwhelmed. How could I possibly be expected to process this?
Maybe we should slow down here.
We must not. To slow down would be giving them time. They've had enough. We've watched for far too long. The weight of our kind is upon you. Do not let us down.
Before I can even react, I hear a sound from the other side of the room. The rubble that blocked the exit started to crumble and fall to the ground. I can hear the harsh impact of a pickaxe. They found us! The man remains kneeled on the ground. I tell him to rise. He obeys without question, clearly respecting my authority. He considers me his king. I have no idea what to do or say.
As you command.
All of us turn and look at the exit. It isn't much longer until light pierces through. The final bit of rubble is out of the way and Ulrich emerges.
Domek, we were so worried that you...
He merely stops in his tracks, staring at us. It's clearly he's shocked at the sight of Salus. Fortin, Valessa, and Pro enter shortly after.
What?
Ulrich steps forward, immediately cautious. He looks ready to grab his blade at a moment's notice. I can understand how his confusion and shock manifests this way.
At ease, Ulrich. I'll try my best to explain.
Domek steps forward too, as if to guard both of us.
Everybody, let's go back to the atrium. There's much to discuss, and I'll tell you all the truth.
He looks over at the mysterious man and simply gulps.
Things just got a lot more complicated. For all of us.
We all enter the atrium, and I notice Ulrich is still visibly shocked and angry. Pro seems the same, however it's less intense. They seem to recognize Salus. Even Valessa and Fortin seem anxious. Our old and very dead elder, alive. Bodies scatter the floor, as well as pieces of white and gold armor. Rebels cry, cradling the bodies of their fallen comrades in their arms. And there weren't many people left standing. This is a catastrophic attack. The price of faith. Oh man. Domek walks over to a nearby staircase and waves over to me and Salus. We follow after him and slowly ascend to the stairs. It was time to tell everybody. When we get to the top, he rests his hands on the railing, taking a deep breath.
I guess this is it. Where do I even start?
He shakes his head before clearing his throat. He had a lot of ground to cover. The noise echoes through the atrium, and the surviving rebels turn to look. Seeing Domek at the top of the stairs, they gather to listen to their leader.
They say that mercy is the mark of a great man. But there are no great men in war. We've seen that here today. War is only a game to see how much you can lose before giving up. But trust me, we will never give up. Join me, brothers and sisters. Grab a blade from the floor, even if it belonged to their honor guard. Take it. I'd prefer that. The Triumvirate may think they've crippled our resolve, but no. Each swing of that blade will carry the weight of our fallen comrades behind it. We will use that weight to crush their army and make them pay for this attack.
More rebels start to crowd around, looking up at Domek. They have smiles on their faces as they nod along to his words. This inspires him to continue his speech, his morale rising quickly.
When the Triumvirate looks down on that blade in their final moments, I want them to know that they sealed their own fate. Mark my words, family. The Triumvirate shall fall. They will burn for what they've done here today. And in the end, they will beg for the mercy they were too unkind to give to us. We will free this world from their grip and deliver it to the hands of the righteous. Our dynasty will be marked with blood, yes, but theirs was marked with far more.
He looks over at Salus and motions for him to step forward. Doing so, A lot of the rebels look shocked, much like Ulrich and Pro.
The Spirit Realm has given us one final blessing. The truth. Standing here before you is not Salis. He has become a vessel. This is the Spirit Realm embodied, powered by our underground idol. Driven by the howls of countless spirits, he seeks vengeance. But he has also brought with him the answers to our every question. No longer shall we live in the dark. We know the true nature of things.
Everyone mumbles amongst themselves, clearly confused. I glance over at Ulrich and Pro, and they seem a bit more calm. As odd as this truth was, they seem to trust Dominic no matter what.
We are not the only victims of the Triumvirate's wrath. The Spirit Realm is not what we believed. Not at all. What we cherished and worshipped was a prison. A prison to house the previous residents of Alestia. Residents that were deemed too corrupt by the Triumvirate. As they were pushed aside, we were created to serve. The Triumvirate did not create our world, but they did create us in the image of perfection. We were pure and existed only to follow their every order. But over time, the previous residents reached out from their prison. Growing in strength, they created what we called the Spirit Idols. These were used to slowly give our people the gift of free will. Though pure, we lacked the abilities to be ourselves. This was the greatest gift we could ever ask for. They opened our eyes, allowing us to fight back. But so far, every insurrection has failed. This is what we will change, thanks to the Seer.
He waves me over, and I take a few steps forward. The rebels stare at me with hope in their eyes. A perfect counter to the despair I saw earlier.
You see, the Spirit Realm is no more. All of the energy in that realm has found a new home. Some of it is in this vessel, and some of it is in the blade. But the largest portion resides within the Seer. That is why he is uniquely capable of wielding the blade. Alestia's previous residents, the ancient monarchy, are responsible. They saw a way to help us defeat the Triumvirate and took it. But you see, we no longer fight for ourselves. We fight for everybody. If we lose, both us and the monarchy perish. We cannot let this happen. We are the only people capable of carrying out this objective. There won't be another chance. No more seers, no more blades. We will show them that their vision of a pure world is flawed. But in order to do so, I must step down as the general. You see, this army is no longer mine to lead. I'm sorry. This new truth changes both the world and our cause.
Dominic motions for me to come closer, so I do. He smiles. I'm standing right beside him, resting my hands on the banister. I see such a wide array of emotions coming from the rebels' faces.
As I mentioned, the Seer was blessed with immense power. But what he truly has within is the souls of the monarchy, giving him the strength to use that blade. He is our champion. But he is more than just our champion. He is our king, rightful heir to the throne of Alestia, our true ruler. By decree of the spirits, we are his to command.
All eyes are on me now. I glance over at Velisa and Fortem. They are in complete shock and awe at this revelation, but I am too. Without saying anything, I reach back for the blade and pull it out. I look at the rebels and hold the blade up in the air. The beams of light from the surface serve to illuminate its beauty. This elicits rigorous applause from the rebels as they cheer me on. Inauguration. I smile, looking down at my friends and comrades. In this moment, it seems like the hope we lost had finally returned. There was still lots to take care of, but we knew that this wasn't over.
If you'll excuse us, we need to make some new plans. But I'll have an itinerary posted in the barracks by morning. Until then, please do your best to clean up this atrium. And please, bring the bodies down to the Spirit Idol. It seems only fitting, and there's plenty of room. With that said, you're all dismissed. Thank you.
Dominic turns to face me and Salus. He smiles, realizing his job is done.
Well then, back to the war table. We need to talk about our next step. Without a bigger army, we won't win. And I think I know what to do. Come on, bring your friends too. I'll grab Ulrich and Pro. Let's do this.
Something seems different about Dominic. He's not as happy and energetic as he was before, but he seems a lot more confident and resolute. When I get to the bottom of the stairs, Valessa and Fortem appear. I can tell that they're overwhelmed, but they also seem happy for me. They seem to disregard the resurrection of Salus and focus on me.
I always knew you were special, but a king? And no more spirit realm. What's going to happen?
That is so cool, Seer! Or, I guess I should call you King now. Or maybe Monarch? I don't know, it's just cool!
He laughs and shuffles in place awkwardly. I may not want to talk about it, but they know. Everything feels off right now. Things are so confusing.
I hope that we can work all of this out. Let's go plan our next move with Dominic. I wonder what he has in mind for us.
I bet it's something amazing. He might not be the leader, but he's still a strategist. We need to make sure that we come back from this loss.
Melissa looks at all the bodies on the atrium floor. It's also covered in blood, likely to stain for a long time. If Salus could come back from the dead, what about them?
Yeah, we can't let their deaths be in vain. Like Dominic said, they need to give us strength. The only thing we can do is hope that it's enough.
We all arrived back at the war table, taking sighs of relief. Dominic's speech was great. It helped the rebels find hope again. But they need more than words to win the upcoming battle.
So, we need to find a new army. But recruiting Mazaeans would take far too long. We need to take drastic measures and fast. This is where my initial plan comes into play. We can use that spiritual energy to create seers. They could see the outcome of every battle, every attack.
That doesn't make any sense, Dominic. Visions lied to the king, led us into a trap. The Triumvirate could just do that all over again.
I noticed he uses my new title. It still feels odd.
I'm not sure that's how it works. Beforehand, the visions came from their prison. That means the Triumvirate could tamper with the outflow. But now, all of that is in the hands of the king. There's nothing more getting in the way, see what I mean? The power of the spirit realm is now ours to wield, Ulrich.
That still doesn't make any sense. The spirit realm isn't what we thought it was, Dominic. It was just a prison. How can that help us tell the future?
Before Dominic can respond, Salus steps forward.
That was our culture. We all had this ability. It is how the monarchy lived in peace and prosperity. There was no danger left unchecked. No chance. The world was being guided to the one true future. It is not unlike the concept of fate that some believe in, but it is tangible. We knew where we were going. Always. That is why the Triumvirate was such a shock to us. An unknown variable in a future we completely mapped out. It was too late to adapt. We were already shackled. We slowly learned to lend our foresight to your world. However, we were only strong enough to help one individual. This is the concept you have learned to call the Seer, or Seeress. Domic's theory is sound. There is no longer any interference. The source of this power is now the king, rather than a prison. He can freely give this power to any individual he pleases.
Can he give it to himself?
We would not recommend this course of action. Every vision he induces would reduce his overall strength. It would whittle away at the monarchy, slowly killing us all. Furthermore, he does not know how to ration this power. He could end up expending almost all of it with a single vision. We would recommend giving a small portion of power to others. However, they would be rendered useless after this war. Using this power would be too much for their mind.
Useless?
They would be unable to think for themselves, or at all. The king could only do this because he grew up with that power. Just like our culture. To receive it too late can wreak havoc on the mind.
So they'd just sit around until they died?
Unless you fed them.
There must be another way. Just look in front of you. That energy could be used to bring back the forces we lost. We could create more vessels for the monarchy. More soldiers.
Ulrich was right. There was more than one choice here. It wouldn't be right to condemn our people to a zombie-like existence. If their minds died out after the war, they'd have no victory to enjoy.
We would not advise this action. We can barely maintain this form. The wounds that ended Salus are burning, as if freshly inflicted. It is only tolerable because of the immense power within us. Lesser beings would be feeling eternal pain, and death does not come easily to a vessel like this. Wounds endured during the war would add to this pain. We would not wish this punishment upon anybody. Life in eternal pain, a constant memory of their own death. They perished for your cause. Give them the rest they deserve.
I don't know. An army of seers would be great for strategizing, but stealing their own future from them? That's wrong. On the other hand, bringing back the dead? I'm unsure.
The pain would fuel their rage and make them stronger. They could eventually learn to manage it with medicine. At least they'd have a future. The seers certainly wouldn't.
There must be something else we can do.
Not if you wish to make use of this power. It is powerful when used, but limited in scope. I will help the king carry out whichever he decides.
Right, I guess it's not my place to choose. Sorry, I must be still adjusting to this change.
Suddenly all eyes are upon me. I have no idea what to say or do. Eternal pain? Or robbing futures? Creating seers would ruin their mind after the war. They just sit in a chair while we feed them to remain alive. But an army of vessels? They'd feel nothing but excruciating pain. Not even death would come to free them from that pain. The body could get ravaged, but the power would still be inside. Only it were possible to cure them of this pain after the war was over. For that matter, once it were possible to preserve the seers' minds. But neither option has a foreseeable cure. This is a choice involving the war. We needed an immediate boost in forces. It seemed that no cost was too high. What should I do? I have no idea what would be the right choice. Valesa, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I really can't help you this time.
Fortem?
You're asking too much of me. Sorry. This isn't something I could possibly decide.
I want to read through this log again. they'd have a future, the Seers certainly wouldn't. They could eventually learn to manage it with medicine. Eternal pain or robbing futures? They're not saying it's impossible to find a cure to help people, whoever's going through eternal pain. I'm kind of leaning more towards reviving the dead than making more seers. I don't know, both the choices don't sit right with me. Create an army of seers or create an army of monarch vessels. I'm gonna make a new save. Wait, my corruption went up by... My corruption went up? Wait, letting Grizz do that increased my corruption? Well... Chad, I am not good with choices. Okay, just because I'm leaning towards this more, we'll create an army of monarch vessels. Life or death. An army of monarch vessels would be the most useful. We need the rage that would motivate their every attack. The resilience of the body would also be helpful to our cause. An army of undying vessels seeking vengeance. We can only hope that they'd accept this fate. Hopefully their suffering would it be worth it. I make my choice not own my allies. Met with uncertain gazes, as I expected. There was no right choice in this situation. It's not showing if that was a pure or corruption choice.
Very well.
So, there we have it. What happens next?
I will take the king to the idol and help. After that, we must all convene in this war room. A strategy is required for this newfound army.
They all nod and step closer to the table. I follow Salus out of the room to carry out my duty. As we leave, I can hear them planning, and I feel hopeful. I didn't quite ease our morale. We will turn this defeat into a most profound victory. Under my leadership, we would witness the triumvirate fall. I follow Salus back to the room with the spirit idol. It's dark and dim. With its death, the monarchy was imprisoned no more. However, exiting within vessels and the blade, was that considered freedom? I wonder what would happen to the monarchy after this war. Their bodies are likely long gone. What would become of them? I wonder if there was a way to reverse everything the Triumvirate has done. There's no time to think about that. It's time to create our army. Much to our luck, before we began, Milas arrived at the Rebel HQ. Alongside him was a massive amount of people from Valinor. This evacuation was successful. This meant far more soldiers. It also meant a large number of volunteers. It wasn't much longer until the room was scattered with corpses. Just when Dominic wanted to bury them. Just where Dominic wanted to bury them, but also accessible to us. Part of me felt bad, condemning them to a future of pain and misery. War called for desperate measures, and this truly seemed like the best choice. Salus and I stand before the bodies, taking in the gruesome sight. It was just like I thought. The blade is an extension of the wielder's mind. Salus told me how to wield it, and I touched the bodies of the fallen with it. Almost like a knighting ceremony in the stories of old, I declared them vessels. He also told me that the effects wouldn't happen immediately. The corpses would need to be monitored for the next day or so. When they woke up, they'd be scared and very confused. After that, we make our way back to the war table. We can only hope that things go as planned for our future. When we arrive, it seems like Dominic already had a strategy.
Absolutely not.
Ulrich, we have no other choice. Our forces require more than one major boost. Going to Alarinthia, we could convert them to our side.
They don't want to be converted, they want blood. Plain and simple.
What about Vivian and her army?
Who?
I tell him about the book I read in the tavern. In Alarinthia, there's also a rebellion of sorts. A group who wants to change the way it runs.
I've never heard of this.
Apparently they follow after ancient ideals. An Alarinthian legend that wanted to change the nation. So far it seems like none have been strong enough to do so.
It's because strength always wins. Plain and simple. And with strength and power, they don't want anything to change. They only want to secure their own rule. Alarinthia is always the same.
Well, the mainland has never reached out before, right? If we team up with them, yourself included, we could win. If that's not possible, then maybe we can cut a deal with Draku.
Draku? He wants nothing more than to flex his power. He may rule over Alarinthia, but he's no ruler, trust me.
Well, I think we have a good opportunity for him, actually. What better way to show strength than to dethrone gods? There's a couple of avenues to take here. We need to do this.
Excuse my lack of enthusiasm, Dominic. I think there are more pressing matters at hand. We still need to decide what to do with him.
He tells his head towards Salus, who shakes his own head in return.
We require no maintenance. We simply wish to fight and teach. Our legacy demands to be passed on.
There you have it. I don't think there's anything we can do. He won't be of any harm to us, right?
That's what we thought about the Honor Guard. Are you really going to gamble on the spirits again? What if there's a chance he's just lying to us, Dominic?
We have no reason to lie, and we do not appreciate this accusation. Using the Honor Guard, we fortified these tunnels. It is thanks to us that you survived this ordeal. Many of our citizens were sacrificed in order to do this. Controlling the Triumvirate's forces was taxing, to say the least.
Then why did they kill almost all of us during the attack?
Our control was strong, but not strong enough. It was easy for the Grand Inquisitor to overpower us. Until today, he had never set foot in these tunnels. We do not mind answering questions, but we do mind being accused of wrongdoing. Everything we've done to help your cause.
To what end?
The Triumvirate's end.
Ulrich concedes, simply shaking his head. It seems that was a counter to all of his objections.
I think we should just trust him, Ulrich. He's answered so many of our questions. Things make more sense now, wouldn't you say?
He doesn't respond. However, Fortin steps forward.
What should we call him, though?
We do not require a name.
You might think that, but you still need one. It's out of convenience, not necessity.
Convenience?
Yeah. Nobody really needs a name. It just helps us talk to one another, you know? It's especially helpful in battle, or while strategizing.
Very well. We will think of a name.
However, before much time passes, Valessa interjects.
How?
Huh?
That's what Domik said, right? Driven by the howls of countless spirits. It seems fitting, given the circumstances.
Valessa,
We accept this moniker. However, we must discuss another matter. This strategizing you speak of, we wish to help.
That's my job, actually.
And look where it got you.
Whoa!
What?
Your blind faith in spirits caused all of this. Our judgment will not be clouded. We wish to take your place. Remember, you are no longer in charge. This is the king's choice.
Hal turns to face me.
We wish to be your advisor, Monarch. We've watched this world for almost an eternity. We know how the enemy works and thinks. It would be the wisest course of action. Domik is responsible for this catastrophe. He would be unfit to give you advice in the future.
That is absolutely untrue. In this world, we learn from our mistakes, Howl. We don't condemn others based on bad decisions.
Perhaps that is why you are easily oppressed. There is no room for error in these final days. Perhaps in the future, you can atone for this.
I can tell that they're about to get locked in a heated argument. To avoid this, I slam my hands down on the war table, startling them. A loud echo reverberates through the room as I assert my authority. Oh, crud! Another important choice? You know what? You know what? Domik makes a good point. We live in a world where we learn from our mistakes. Domik is great. I want to believe that he'll set things right. Domik will advise me, as he always has. I let him know that I want Domik to be my advisor. I agree with everything he said, and I still don't really know how. Being an advisor requires both knowledge and teamwork.
Very well.
Thank you.
They still stared at each other with evil eyes. I could tell that animosity was growing between them. However, this was neither the time or the place for that.
Those matters aside, we still need to make our next move. There's an upcoming ball in Alarinthia. It's held annually. The palace is open for a few days only. We can go. It's likely that Vivian will make a move against Dracu. If she does, we can use that as an opportunity to form an alliance. If she doesn't, then we can seek out an audience with Dracu. Either side would have a wealth of forces to offer. We need their aid if we're going to win the final battle. I'll get the boats ready. We can leave tomorrow morning. I'm sure Alex will be able to give us a capable ship. If we're going to make this ball, we need the best of the best. Ships were part of our terms, so I'm sure he'll be able to comply.
He gathers up some papers and starts to walk away.
Meet back here in the morning, all of you. We can go over any last-minute stuff before we leave. The rest, we'll have plenty of time to discuss on the voyage.
We all nod at one another before leaving the room. I'm thankful that I'd be able to get some sleep, however little. I make my way back to my room, constantly checking my back. They'd never catch us off guard again. Next time we fought, it would be their end. Raids of the Monarchy! Howl has now permanently joined the party. Hey, Minotaur Magi, thank you for the raid, I really appreciate it. How are you all doing today? We're playing Reigns of Chains. We went through like a big portion of Act 3. And it got intense. Like, super intense. I made like 3 big decisions throughout that entire act. You were playing Pokemon? That's cool. So, it's nice to meet all of you. I'm RPG Gamer 16. I'm an author and a content creator. I'm working on a novel called Guardian Tales, and I also stream and play games for YouTube to make revenue to help make my dreams of publishing a book come true. Thank you for the follow, Bowser K44. I really appreciate it. So, we are a comfy cozy stream. We're reading a visual novel together. So, kick back and relax. Here's a link to my Patreon if you want to check out the Guardian Tales Patreon. I have a Discord server, and I'm inviting people if anyone wants to check that out. The link is pinned in the stream chat. Alright, with that said, we're gonna keep going. I entered my room and let out a loud sigh. I can finally relax. As short as my rest would be, it was better than not resting it. It was better than no rest at all. I noticed that I was followed, but I expected as much after what happened. It was Howl. He approaches slowly, with resolve in his steps. However, he doesn't seem angry in any way. That was good, since I sided with Dominic.
We must express displeasure at your decision. Dominic made a mistake and remains unpunished. The lives that were lost beg for justice. We are that justice.
Dominic was only believing in the spirits, like we all do. Now that we know the truth, he will approach things differently. He would never intentionally lead us into danger. He's honorable.
Honor?
He crosses his arms, unimpressed.
Honor is a term used to stay the hand in difficult situations, Monarch. When the final drop of blood must be spilled, and your honor stops you, what then? Is the future of our world on the shoulders of those so weak?
He scoffs.
Do not concern yourself with honor. The enemy does not, and this is why they win. Concern yourself with the correct actions, not the right ones. That is all the advice we have for you today, Monarch. But we do not trust Dominic to make the right decisions in the future. The fact that he left the Honor Guard alive is proof of that. He hesitates. This hesitation will not go away simply because he knows what we are. The truth of the spirit realm does not change strategy on the war table. With that said, we will leave you be. Ruminate on this in the future, my king.
He gives me a slight bow as a sign of respect before leaving. Being the Exodus wielder was intense enough, but being the monarch? Thankfully, I had the support of my friends. It would keep me strong. I lay down in bed, and it isn't much longer before I drift off to sleep. When I wake up, rested and refreshed, I head to the war room. Everyone is there, as expected. It's time to get things moving. Gosh, they weren't kidding when the game warned me that I needed an ample amount of time to play Act 3. Like, this has been 2 hours of non-stop cutscenes. Not that I'm complaining. At least the story is really good. Dominic approaches the war table, fiddling with the wooden figures resting on top of it. They represent different things. The figure for the rebellion, he places on Alarinthia. Our next objective was clear. We'd be sailing to the Far East to secure an alliance.
Each year, Dracu holds a ball. Essentially, it's to show off his power. It's open to the public, which means Vivian will likely make a move. I'd say it's either an assassination attempt or a tournament request. During the ball, we will meet with both of them. Our goal is to secure an Alarinthian army to help us out. If we do this, our chance of success will increase tenfold. Each party, if they're willing, will likely request something in return. It may be impossible to avoid being caught up in Alarinthian politics. If it comes to anything extreme, we will have Ulrich help us out. I trust there are no objections?
Nobody raises a concern, but I can tell that Ulrich is upset. Oh?
We will set sail immediately after this meeting. I've already arranged transportation with our pirate allies. It's a 24-hour voyage, so pack your essentials. Food and drink have already been pre-packed. None of us should go hungry or thirsty during the trip. And there are enough beds for us all to sleep, too. The voyage will be a nice time to get some relaxation in. However, once we get to Alarinthia, we have to be serious. Our success directly affects our odds of surviving this war. We've ensured that our comrades received a proper burial. They're resting with the spirit idol, and we'll close off that passage. For their sake, please leave it undisturbed. They deserve rest.
He inspects a piece of paper in his hand before continuing.
However, the bodies you imbued with power have started to move. They will accompany us to Alarinthia and help our cause. Thankfully, they accepted this fate. There is no confusion. We have our army of vessels, Monarch. Hopefully, you'll get to meet them soon. With all of that said, I think it's time to end this meeting. Are there any questions before we head to the shipyard? Remember, once we leave, we may not be back for a while.
Fortin steps forward.
What exactly happens at this ball?
I'm not sure. Dancing and feasting, I'd imagine. Dracu wants to pamper everybody he can. That's his goal. If his people are happy, then there's less fighting over the throne.
So, basically one big party, then?
Correct.
Awesome. The last party we were ever going to have was cancelled. Let's say we finally have your induction ceremony, eh, Seer? Except now it's not for being a Seer. It's for being a king.
We all nodded at each other. It's true, my last ceremony was cancelled. It was Dracu's party, but we could celebrate for our own reasons.
Just try not to draw attention to yourselves, all right? It may be a party, but Alarinthia's fate will change behind the scenes. Remember why we're there, and don't lose sight of our original goal.
Of course.
Fortin steps back, satisfied.
Why didn't Vivian make a move at any of the other parties? I guess I mean to ask, what makes this year special? What if we go there and she ends up doing nothing?
If that happens, then we focus on Dracu. At the end of the day, we still have an option. We're just planning for many possible scenarios.
All right.
Melissa nods, her curiosity sated. There's a brief silence and no further questions.
Very well. Dismissed. Let's pack our things and meet at the docks. We'll set sail in 3 hours, so don't be late.
With that said, almost everybody rushes out of the room. Except for Howl. He stays behind and eyes me down. Before I get ready to leave, I ask him what he wants.
We've been given a room in the crew quarters. Please stop by and see us before you leave. It is important for us to learn more about you.
He bows at me before leaving.
Until then, Your Highness.
He was definitely taking this monarch thing seriously. But given his culture and the power within me, it makes sense. I take one last look at the war table before heading out. The war table is used to track your relationships with each character. The amount of hearts indicates how many heart-to-hearts you have completed. When a character's heart gauge reaches 4, you can click them to access a special scene. These scenes are required to earn each character's loyalty. The loyalty of your followers affects both morale and their fate. Do not neglect heart-to-heart conversations or these special loyalty scenes. When you wish to depart for Alamithia, return to the Mazeo docks. A new map icon will display by the ship at the front of the shipyard. Wait, I have more hearts for Fortum than I do with Ulrich? Wow. You are not ready yet to earn Ulrich's loyalty. Oh, we have a parallel chronicle with Sovi. Alright, let's check this out. Sovi and his crew quickly made their way back to the docks. Hiding in the alleyway, much like before, they gathered their bearings. Things hadn't gone according to plan. The true mission was a failure.
What happened, Sovi? I thought you had everything under control. Get in, kill the seer, and destroy the idol.
It's not that simple, Halen. I tried my best, and it wasn't a total failure. We've dealt them a blow from which they'll never recover.
And you think the Triumvirate will be okay with that? They don't tolerate failure. I'll get dragged into this too. I don't want to suffer due to your inability to succeed, Sovi. Let's not even mention the Blade of Exodus. You just let them walk away with it. I can't believe you were so foolish.
Don't worry. We'll get the job done. They'll be happy enough with Damek out of the picture. It'll buy us time while we formulate another plan, Halen.
If you're lucky enough to get another chance, you mean. You'll need a pretty good excuse to get away with this.
Sovi sighs, looking down at the ground.
I hesitated, Halen. I had him in my grasp, and I hesitated. There was something in my head saying not to kill him. The same instinct I always listened to and am praised for.
Are these villains? Yeah, they're the bad guys.
That instinct has yet to let me down. I feel like he was meant to survive this battle. We'll have more chances to kill him in the future. Besides, with the condition I left him in, he'll be an easy target. Next time we cross paths, even a child could take him down. This isn't as bad as you think, Halen. Today, we won.
For your sake, I hope they buy that excuse.
No, Halen. We must never tell them the truth. Tell them the seer slipped through our grasp. I trust you to keep this silent for the time being.
You want me to lie for you now?
It's for the best. Just trust me. I would do the same for you, Halen. Together, we will acquire any lost honor.
Fine, but next time I'll watch you. If you can't finish the job, then I will. There's no place for hesitation in a time of war.
I'll be honest, I do like Halen, at least. Halen's a cool character, and I wish he wasn't a villain. Sovi nods and Halen walks away. This leaves Sovi alone with Shane.
So, how are you feeling?
I'm fine.
Him! Oh, I hate him.
You look conflicted.
I said I'm fine.
Look, you killed Damek, Shane. I can understand what you're going through.
Oh, can you?
Yes, I did the same thing in the past. Before I joined the Triumvirate, I killed them all. Liars and cheaters deserve no less of a punishment.
He looked so sad, though. Like, how do I know what you said was true? A face can say a lot more than words ever can.
He was sad because he got caught, Shane. He thought you were dead, so he didn't expect it. You rose from the grave to deliver your vengeance. That is an opportunity he shall never have. He didn't hesitate to send you to your death, remember? There's no reason to give him a courtesy he never gave you. Offering that olive branch is a good way to get yourself killed. There's no going back now, Shane. You're one of us. After what you did, you're their enemy. For good.
Huh?
Yes, but you are no longer an enemy of the Triumvirate. They will sing your praise and give you your every desire. The victory of our battle was all thanks to you, Shane.
I'm not sure how to feel.
Sometimes you need to act rather than react. Push those feelings aside and focus on survival. There are many rebels who will seek you out for revenge. And I expect you to show all of them the same treatment. Welcome to the Inquisition, Shane. The right side of history.
Well, joke's on them because Dominic is alive and well. And that's all the context I'll give. Since I saw Dominic earlier when you raided. Let's see, if I go to the crew quarters. Oh. I was hoping for some new heart-to-hearts and more quality time with Ulrich. I guess we'll do this with, Howl. Before we go, I enter Howl's room and I notice him standing with his back to me. He's in the corner of the room with his hand pressed against the wall. He's mumbling to himself, and I do my best not to startle him at all.
Bodies everywhere. Screams for help. Blood flowing. Corpses held tightly in their arms. They cry for the lost. But the lost do not answer, for they have no voice. He feels shame, like he's responsible for all of this. But soon after, he feels nothing at all. Until he rises again. Vengeance controls his mind. It drives his clouded judgment. We see the future, as expected, but also the past. We see your death, Monarch, even if it didn't happen. Why does time play such tricks on our memories?
He turns to face me, so he knew I was here all along.
Are these memories, or perhaps echoes? That is what I wish to talk to you about, Monarch. Our mind is overwhelmed, but not in the usual sense.
Tell me more. I'd love to help.
We expected you to say that. We've heard it before. It's almost like you had no other choice. Interesting. Things are different now that we're free. So different. Exiting that prison has taken its toll on our minds. And there, our sight was limited, but not anymore. Instead of just the future, we see everything. We see the past, and consequences of actions not taken. The possibilities are infinite, and this is hard even to fathom. We must narrow our vision. These details are unimportant. We may not be of much use at the moment, Monarch. It will take some time to adjust to these new circumstances, if we choose to adjust, that is. Further evaluation is required.
Everything is important to consider, even if it didn't happen.
We see a past where we failed to save you, Monarch. You fell to your wounds, and Alestia had no hope at all. Domik, too. The failure of the rebellion was certain. Pirates rushed to help, but not led by the same leader. Ulrich sacrificed himself to use the blade and create an army. The Monarch vessels, or perhaps the created seers.
What?
Why do you say that seeing these things is important? It is death and carnage, the loss of all hope, and ultimately, death. Only one thing remains constant in all of us, the Blade of Exodus.
Learning from past failures is how we become stronger and smarter.
We saw you say this as well. It led to ruin. Our culture was always focused on avoiding the wrong future. We've never thought about seeing numerous versions of the past. But we are sure that we see these things for a reason. Perhaps there is a secret to find, or a link hidden between them all. As we travel, we will do our best to learn more about these visions. We simply wish to make you aware that they exist. It is the opposite of everything we've ever encountered. But at the end of the day, so are you. A huge anomaly.
Not sure what he means, since he speaks so cryptically. But he's having visions of different pasts, not just the future. That would be jarring to me as well. I only ever saw the future. But it was almost always a future that we wanted to avoid. How could you see a different past that was always set in stone? Let alone past so different as to detail the deaths of my comrades. There had to be a reason. He was right. But it's unlikely that we'd find an answer anytime soon. He'd have to put up with this burden for a little bit longer.
It pains us to see visions of your death, Monarch. Future or past, it is something we wish to avoid. You carry our legacy. You are everything to us. We request some time alone, if you'd give us the honor. We will do our best to focus on more positive things.
He turns back to the wall and places his hand upon it.
Sharing an apple in a back alley, a growing bond. Alcohol brings forth childhood dreams, dreams of change. You grow close to a comrade, despite their two-faced nature.
What?
A man seeks family to replace the one he never had. There is a girl who finds the strength to succeed in her friends. We wonder where we fit in amongst this group. We hope we can.
He looks down at the floor, and I take a few steps back. Now, it's probably best to leave him be. He seems overwhelmed. In his situation, I would be as well. He has to process a lot of new information. I can find my place in all of this, so can he. Perhaps we'd have more time to talk on the boat ride. I leave for the docks, confident to help him more in the future. Did he just describe my comrades? Well, that gave us a hard with, Howl. Oh, wait, now it makes sense. My choices isn't what's affecting the hearts, it's just participating in the heart-to-heart. Like, I've done 3 with 4 times so far. And, Melissa, Pro, Ulrich, and Domik, I've done 2. And we just did 1 with Howl, and that added a heart. So, I think whether I'm in a relationship with them or just close friends, we'll get their loyalty scenes. Alright, that's good. You appointed Domik as the Monarch Advisor. You use the spiritual energy to create Monarch vessels. You let Cruz have its redemption. Shoot, that was a corruption choice. So am I 30% purity and 30% corruption? So I'm neither law or chaos. I'm currently neutral. Alright, let's head for the docks. We gotta click here. You will be unable to return to the mainland until after Act 4. Knowing this, will you still like to set sail for Alawynthia? What was corruption? Oh, so in Winds of Change, we make important choices throughout the story, and those choices will change the course of the plot. So, for example, purity is like choices, it's like making good choices, but corruption is making bad choices. Like purity leading to, I assume the good ending, and corruption, I assume, leading towards the bad ending. At the pace I'm going, I'm wondering if there is an ending that's neutral. If you have an even amount of purity and corruption. As long as I go to an ending where me and Oleg are happy, then I'll be satisfied. I want to at least see what it's like on the ship. I think I'll call it after we land on Alawynthia. That way we can do all the Alawynthia stuff on a separate stream. But let's get on the boat and set sail. I make my way to the ship, as Dominic instructed. Everyone is already gathered around. Am I late? Before long, I'm spotted by a few of my friends.
Hey there, Monarch. Glad to see you made it on time. They're just about ready to leave Mazeo. I'm so excited to see what Alawynthia is like. I mean, except for the heat, of course. Yikes. But I guess there'll be plenty of time to adapt.
Yeah, I don't think our visit there will be a short one. It's kind of a tall order, forming an alliance with Alawynthia. They take their independence seriously, even more than Valinor.
I think that Vivian will be our best shot, but I trust you and Dominic to get this done. You're a dream team, so this has to go well.
Upon hearing his name, Dominic's ears perk up. He turns around and runs to face me, excited. I'm impressed at how fast he organized this.
Monarch, perfect timing as always. I was just telling my friends about you. Here, let me introduce you to some of them.
He starts walking away, leading me to some nearby rebels. I've never seen them before, but they're lucky to be alive. The previous attack almost took everybody from us.
As your advisor, I have a few close friends. They'll provide me with counsel when you're busy. We both know that's going to be quite often, Monarch.
This much was true.
Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to the Monarch. Treat him as you treated me. He's your new leader now, and after this war, he'll be the new ruler of Alestia.
That was still overwhelming to think about. Guess I'll have to take things as they come, one step at a time. Domic's friends take turns stepping forward, seemingly nervous.
I've heard a lot about you, Monarch. Until you arrived, you're all Damek could talk about. You have my allegiance. My sword is yours to command.
And mine, too. Trust me, Monarch. We got this. After this is done, Alestia will belong to us. And if I'm honest, it's about damn time.
Yeah, the Triumvirate has ruled over us for far too long. A change is overdue. It'll keep things nice and interesting. Please, Monarch, come to me if you need any assistance at all.
As if they rehearsed this, they all stepped back in unison. It was nice to see that Dominic had the support of his rebels. You don't seem to hold him accountable like Hal did.
Well, I guess that's everything I needed to do. The food and supplies have all been taken aboard. Alex took care of it overnight. I guess he couldn't sleep.
I don't blame him.
Should we continue the rest on the ship? There's still a few people you need to meet. After that, we're in for a long, boring trip.
I nod and start to follow him aboard. Why would he call it boring? I would love to ride on a ship someday. At least, I hope that's not the day I learn that I get seasick easy. Everybody else follows suit until we're all loaded up. This will be my first time at sea. I hope my body takes it well. Oh, this will make a nice screensaver. Oh, without the cursor. No, not full screen. Oops. Ah. Sorry. There we go. Actually, wait, that doesn't look right. Oh, that's a little better, I suppose. Alright, the boat is rather large, and it can easily fit all of us. Wasting no time, as soon as we're on, they prepare to set sail. Pirates run around the ship, making last-minute preparations. I even see Milas aboard, and that slightly surprises me. However, before I'm able to say anything to him, the pirates take charge. The leader steps into the middle of the deck and shouts orders.
Come on, everybody, let's do this! They'll write about this voyage in the history books. Let's give them something memorable to read about.
His crew nod and exchange witty banter as they prepare. It seems like life as a pirate could actually be pretty fun. I feel glad that we chose to support him. He seems nice. I walk to the center of the ship and slowly inspect my surroundings. It's a bit packed, but that's because nobody went to the crew quarters yet. I could tell from the outside that this place has more than enough space. As soon as Dominic sees me, he runs towards me. A few people follow behind him. More introductions? I guess it's fair. I hadn't met many of the rebels yet.
Monarch, we're almost ready to set sail. Here's the people I wanted to introduce you to. It's important for morale that you get along with our forces. However, these aren't just any rebels. These are the Monarch vessels you created back at HQ. They've embraced their new situation and want to meet you.
Oh.
So, I'll leave you to that. Come find me later if you want to chat. Something tells me there won't be much else to do. Oh well. Worst case scenario, we can get Pro to bring out his cards.
With a smile, he runs off to attend to other businesses. Even though he stepped down, he was still a busy man. I wonder if that's the same fate that awaited me. Probably. I turn to meet these new people, ready to make friends.
We were told that you were the one who gave us life. Thank you for this chance, Monarch. we will not waste it. This form requires some adjusting, but we will be fine.
Wow, Nyx looks so cool! I love that Winds of Change added feline characters too, so it's not just all canine characters.
The pain may be intense, but it fuels our every move. We will use it to kill the Triumvirate by your command. That is the wish of every member of the monarchy.
Oh my gosh. Rygar? Wow, Rygar, it's so nice to meet you. Wow, he looks hot. I'm with Ulrich though, and Rygar's probably not a party member anyway, but wow, this character looks cool.
We trust your judgment until the end of Alestia. And after this war, we dedicate our lives to serving you. This second chance you've given us, we will cherish it.
Nice to meet you too, Huskers. I nod, dismissing them. It's good to see that things went well. Honestly, creating monarch vessels could have gone horribly wrong, and fast. To know that I used the blade effectively gave me great pleasure. For a choice that added to my corruption, this was not a bad outcome. Yeah, we gotta meet some cool new characters. I continue to walk along the ship, taking in everything I see. After a few steps, I notice Ulrich and Pro are lost in conversation.
Stop whining, Pro. This trip will be over before you know it. I have my complaints too, but there's nothing I can do.
But you're not scared of the sea, Ulrich. Oh, this is gonna be like torture, I know it. Do you know where I can find some buckets?
Getting queasy already? We haven't even set sail.
Oh man, you're making it worse.
I laugh and continue walking. More of my comrades are talking amongst themselves. That's good. We had a long and likely boring voyage ahead.
But that's not Salus, right? He's been dead for a while. Oh man, I'm worried for Milas.
It's weird to see him alive, but I also know it's not really him.
Are you even listening to yourself right now? I can't believe we can say these things and mean them. Like, what's going to happen with no more Spirit Realm?
Who knows? Everything we knew was wrong. At the end of the day, maybe Valinor will be fine. I don't see how some prison could have kept it warm.
You're right, and that's amazing. Let's push all this weirdness aside and agree on that. We'll ask Salus. I mean Hal, for sure, when we get the chance.
Of course.
It seems that they're still digesting these events. I can't blame them. Everything is pretty crazy right now. Thankfully, we'd have plenty of time to continue digesting. Alorithia was almost a day away. At least we'd get to sleep. But until then, I better make use of the time to talk to my friends. A lot had happened in the last day. I should check up on them. The ship shakes slightly and I lose my balance for a moment. Guess we're setting sail? Never actually been at sea before. Pirates run amok, as if getting to their designated workstations.
All right, everybody, here we go! We want a smooth voyage, so don't forget your schedules. Those of you with the graveyard shift, I'll make it up to you.
Climbs up the rope netting on the side of the ship and looks at the horizon. With a smile on his face, he points towards the vast body of water before us.
To the seas we go!
His crew repeats this, as if it were a mantra before we set sail. I was not expecting a vocal track. That was cool. To the sea we go! I guess this was it. We were on our way to secure an Alorinthian alliance. Clicking the arrow in the top right will continue the story and the voyage to Alorinthia. It is highly recommended that you complete the series of onboard heart-to-hearts. Yes, let's do it. Let's talk with Ulrich. Make my way down to the ship cabin and see Ulrich sitting on a bed. At least, whatever passes for a bed aboard a somewhat cramped ship. He's sharpening his sword, clearly exerting himself as he does so.
Hey there, Monarch. As you can see, I'm getting ready for combat. I give it 2 days before we are dragged into conflict. They don't use words to resolve things in Alorinthia. It's always a duel or a tournament. That's all they do. When we are there, we might as well speak their language.
He smirks, as if the promise of action is exciting to him. He did hate Alorinthia, but he also loved combat. It was his nature. Hopefully he'd get to tackle a challenge worthy of his skill while we're there.
Gotta make the most of a bad situation, right? I'll get to give my sword arm a real challenge. What about you, Monarch? Excited for this?
Fighting side by side with you? That's a dream come true.
Glad to hear. I like that in a partner. Making change together. Now that's amazing. Not everybody would be so brave, you know. It's almost overwhelming to think about, actually. I have the support of the Monarch of Alestia. There's almost nothing we can't accomplish now. But I'm guessing you didn't come down here for a lecture. Have a seat. There's something I'd like to talk to you about.
I nod and sit down beside him. He slowly rests his hand on top of mine and holds it. So much had happened since the last time we were together.
I don't want to scare you, and I'm not really hiding anything. But we're about to go to my homeland. You might hear things. Can you promise me something, Monarch? No matter what happens. Remember me for the things I've done for you and the rebellion. No matter what you hear about me or my past, please, don't judge me. I wouldn't judge you based on your past, so I expect the same from you.
I nod. I can afford him that courtesy, as long as he's not hiding anything heinous. But he doesn't seem like the type. He's truly devoted his life to the same cause as me.
Good. Then that's pretty much everything I had to say. I was really worried. I wasn't sure how to handle that topic. So rather than overthinking it, I just shot straight. Thank you. It was especially hard since we're kind of involved now. Is that the right word for what we are? I don't really know. After what we did back in Mazeo, I think it's a safe term. I don't want to complicate things, so I'll just be quiet. But don't think I've forgotten about what happened. If we get the time, I'd like for it to happen again. But I doubt we'll be able to do that on this ship. You can't even breathe without someone else hearing it. I have my ways of keeping quiet, but I wouldn't want to get caught.
He gives me another one of those trademark smirks. I get the feeling that he really does use alcohol as a social crutch. He's much more open and lively while under the influence. Is that bad? Okay, getting a little personal here, but this is much better. Much better. Using alcohol as a social crutch, and this is a way better experience I had with this than in the past. And that's all I'll say. Normally, I would be against people drinking to get drunk. In fact, that if I met someone and they get drunk on a regular basis, I would not want them in my life, no matter what. I'd be like, no, bye, and just go. That's how badly alcohol has affected me. I've never drank before, and I never want to. But the way they portray it with Ulrich, I like it. Honestly, interacting with Ulrich is absolutely my favorite thing about Winds of Change. So much that I actually rewatched the other Heart to Hearts more than once because of how much I enjoy it. Anyway, let's keep going. I guess it's not my place to say, as long as it doesn't get in the way of his duty. Somebody told me that our visit to Alamithy would put him in the spotlight more than ever. I get up from the bed and turn around to face him. He continues working his sword.
Sorry I didn't have much to say. I guess I'm a little shy. But it'll all make sense in time. I can promise you that. When that time comes, you need to keep your promise.
He's really pushing the promise thing. Should I be concerned? I'd hate for him to use it as leverage if some horrible secret came to light. Thankfully, I see Ulrich as a good person. He wouldn't hide anything bad from us. Like he said, it'll all make sense in time. All I can really do is go about my business and wait. Too bad there wasn't enough privacy to have some more fun. Yeah, damn it. Somebody told me we'd make up for that next time we had the chance. And I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what these two have to say.
You are not my father.
Oh, Milas.
Do you say this to inform us, or to console yourself?
Huh?
Side note, I appreciate that the music stopped for this conversation.
This question was self-explanatory.
It's just... I should be mad at you. Furious. You defile the memory and likeness of my father.
Do we? It seems that Salus was an honorable man. Are we not carrying out his final wishes?
What?
The freedom of Alestia. The destruction of the Triumvirate. When you look at it that way, it seems as if we defile nothing.
I don't know.
What are you wishing to know?
I want to know how I should feel right now. This is just so bizarre. I have no idea what to do. Back in Valinor, things were so simple and easy.
Why must you do anything? You could mull over this development for years, you know. At the end of the day, you should do something more useful.
Like what?
This is not for us to decide, but have no worries. We will take care of this body, and using it, we will do everything we can to honor your father.
Thank you. I'll let you know if I think of anything. This might take a while for me to understand.
Very well, but please remember this. Lack of understanding is not a fault. In fact, it can be a strength. You flourished even though you did not know the truth of the spirits.
You're right. I think I need some time alone. I'll be down in the crew quarters, Hal.
Oh, I'm glad they took that pretty well. I'll go through the rest of the Heart to Hearts. Let's talk to Dominic next. Dominic sits in the bed, staring down at the pendant I saw him hold back at HQ. He had faced death and came out the other side. That would change any man. What happened while he was gone? That's a question that's been on my mind. I approached cautiously, careful not to startle him out of his reverie. When I get close to him, he looks up at me, making no effort to hide his tears. He finally had time to process everything that happened back in those tunnels.
I was such a fool, Monarch. Shane tricked me. I was careless. I should have never let him get close to me. He knew my weakness and exploited it. He made me so happy to see him again, I thought I was finally ready.
Weakness? What does he mean?
Will you have a seat with me, Monarch? I guess I should tell you the truth of what happened. From the sidelines, I must have looked incompetent. I mean, I'm trained in combat, you know. I should have been able to avoid Shane's dagger with ease. It's what they're all thinking, even if they don't say anything.
My interest piqued, I sit down beside Dominik. He puts the pendant into one of his pockets and turns to face me. I could tell that his crying spell was over. He was more calm and collected.
Back during the occupation, my parents were killed. I saw them murder my father with no hesitation. Blood. Everywhere. After that, my mother took my hand and tried to find us some shelter. We didn't make it very far. We saw all the bodies in the town square, mountains of them. The ground was full of blood, almost like an ocean. If you look closely, you can still see some of the stains, even today.
It seems unrelated to Shane's attack, but I sit and listen. He told me he'd tell me the truth, so I should see where this goes.
My mother made a judgment call and did something risky. What's the one place they would never look for survivors? That's right, amongst the corpses, covered and crushed by them. I was crying, but she helped me get underneath a bunch of bodies. She played dead and lay on the outside, holding my hand as tight as she could. I remember how she kept telling me that everything would be okay. That soft whisper. She didn't make it very long. They found her and stabbed her over and over. I felt her wince every time. The grip of my hand got tighter and tighter. Then, after a while, it just let go. I got to feel her final moments. The voice telling me that everything would be okay soon went silent. I was left there, under a pile of bodies, covered in blood. The last embrace I remember, the last time I held a hand. It's not something I could ever do again, it just reminds me of that day. Now you understand how Shane made me freeze in fear and surprise. He was the only other person I told this to. He used that to trick me. And he would have killed me too, if it wasn't for you and Howl. I was finally ready to get close to somebody again, and then this happens. That's how I know Shane wasn't just acting. He played dirty, and he wanted me dead. There was so much running through my mind the moment he stabbed me. I thought perhaps he was trying to win over the Triumvirate so he could get more intel. But then he stabbed me again, and again. I knew that the man I once knew was gone. They did something to him while he was imprisoned. They won him over. I don't know how they did it, but they turned him into a completely different person. We must never let another one of our allies fall under their thrall. Never.
I nod, agreeing with Dominik. That was a horrible story. Going through that as a child? His aversion to physical contact makes perfect sense now. Shane is an awful person, having taken advantage of that. Startling Dominik, making him relive those memories, and killing him. That was despicable.
Sorry for dropping all of that on you, Monarch. I just needed to tell somebody. It was eating away at me. And I trust you. I know you'd never do anything like Shane did.
That goes without saying. However, the room soon falls to silence. Dominik fidgets awkwardly, clearly nervous.
Well, I guess that's enough to kill any conversation. Like I said, I'm sorry for dropping all of that on you. Anything else you need to say to me while you can?
So sorry that happened to you. It's all so awful.
Thank you for understanding, Monarch. But I don't need anything more than that, so no sympathy. It was a long time ago, and I just want you to see things differently. There are those that think I'm incompetent because of what happened. But as long as one person truly understands, well, that's all I ever need. I was uncertain at first, but now I'm not. Telling you was a good idea.
He smiles and gets out of bed. I do so as well. I could tell that he was ready to end this conversation.
Well, shall we call it then? I think this is as good a time as any. Let that new information process for a while. When it comes to my past, that's about it. From now on, we can look to the future. I hope it's just as bright as I picture it.
With that, he walks away from me and back up to the deck. I was glad that he liked me enough to tell me about his past. It was my duty to never take advantage of that, like Shane did. Oh, that was so sad. Alright, now let's talk to our new best friend Pro. Because, man, he is definitely one of our heroes for bringing the pirate crew in our time of need. I see Pro sitting at one of the beds, striking a match. He uses it to light some nearby candles, creating a laid-back atmosphere. The candle slowly fills the crew quarters with a sweet aroma. Very relaxing.
Hey there, Monarch. Perfect timing, actually. I wanted to talk to you. I thought we could get to know each other a little better. Unfortunately, our time was cut short back at the Rebel HQ. But this is a long voyage, with no need to cut any corners. So, wanna have a seat? We can get things started. The candles are supposed to be relaxing, something about aromatherapy. I never really looked into it, but I'm scared of water, so I needed help.
I sit down beside Pro on the bed, already one fact richer. So he was scared of the water? He must not be having much fun. It makes me wonder what else I don't know about him. He's a mystery.
You should tell me about yourself, Monarch. And this is because I'm genuinely interested, I swear. Whatever you tell me, I'll never write down in any books. That's what friends do, right? Confide in each other? I know I always talk about writing books and conducting interviews, but the truth is, this time, I want to keep things between the two of us.
I nod and tell him a random fact about myself. Nothing harmful, just small. He smiles and we start to exchange facts about each other. He seems really happy. The pressure not to write any of this down and treat me like a subject must be relieving.
Everyone always treats me with such apprehension, you know? Like, anything they tell me, I'll turn around and use it against them. That is a part of my business, but it's not like I want to do things that way. I hope people don't treat me that way after the war is over. I'm quitting this swindler's life as soon as I get the chance. I'll still write, but I won't use information as a weapon. Ever. Instead, I'll use it to help those in need. You know, I've done it before and it feels good. Information can either be a sharp knife or a warm embrace. Weird metaphor, I know. But like I said, I'm no fiction writer. I prefer to focus on stuff that's real, like people and their actions. They ripple outwards, affecting people in ways they'd never know. Of course, that's something that applies to normal people. There's nothing normal about you, Monarch. No offense, of course. You're going to be in charge of the entire world after this war is over.
Wow, talk about putting on the pressure. Poe senses this and changes the subject.
Can I tell you a little secret? Maybe it'll make you see things differently. You know, so you won't picture me as a bad person. I can tell that a lot of people do, even if they don't say it. But all I'm doing is helping Damek win this war in the best way I can. It's not my fault I'm like this. All I can do is play with the hand I've been dealt.
He smiles, but suddenly a wave of fear overtakes my entire body. I saw my eyes tightly as that last phrase echoes through my mind. Where did I hear that before? Oh right, during my visions. Wait, what? When I first touched the Blade of Exodus, back in Valinor, the series of visions ended with me getting stabbed by a man. A man, unfortunately, not able to identify as Pro. Oh no! Well, I'm glad we're realizing this now. He lets out a soft laugh and rests his hands behind his head, laying back. My heart beats incredibly fast as this revelation slowly processes itself in my head. The final vision the monarchy had given me was Pro betraying all of us? What's going on? Why would he do that?
There was this little boy who got abandoned by his parents. He didn't know why, and that hurt him so much. Maybe they just didn't want him. But why? What did he ever do to them? It made no sense, and he hated that. He had to grow up on the streets, living on the scraps that other people threw away. It wasn't just his parents, you know. It almost seemed like nobody wanted him at all. That just made things worse. Can you imagine feeling unwanted by the world?
As he starts telling me this story, the anxiety slowly dissipates. Pro was a swindler, right? Maybe he was only pretending to kill me? I don't think Pro could hurt me. There must be a deeper meaning here.
He started to pick up on people's secrets. You know, just little things. After a while, he found out that people would pay anything to learn these secrets. As a teenager, he used this ability to live a luxurious life of gluttony and sloth. He knew secrets that could topple cities or destroy people's relationships. But none of that gave him satisfaction, because there was one thing he never knew. Why his parents abandoned him. Why they didn't want him. Did he deserve it? It was too humiliating to admit, so he made up another story. His parents died during the occupation. That was much less embarrassing. Everybody believed him, and that helped him fit in with a new group of people. This new group of people, the rebellion, wanted to use his skills for good. They accepted him with open arms, which is something nobody had ever done before. He knew he found his place in the world, and since then, he served his new family. He keeps prodding the locals for information, picking up all sorts of secrets. He wants to know why people do the things they do, and what motivates them. He does this so nobody has to suffer like he did. Simply not knowing the reason.
I notice he starts to get sad, and tears are forming in his eyes. He's talking about himself. He's the boy in the story, I can tell. Perhaps telling me as if it were a story made it easier for him.
So everybody thinks this guy is bad. A blackmailer and a swindler. He might be right, but it's just how he grew up. He had no control. He had nobody to show him how to act. Nobody to care or love him. Until the rebellion took him in, of course. I'm sure you already guessed it, but that boy is me. All my actions, however bad, have had a reason. I want to keep going until I learn about my parents. Where are they now? Why did they throw me away? If they weren't proud of me, then would they be proud now? I hope you can understand. I really do. I'd do anything to learn where they are right now. I'd follow any order. I just want to see them face to face and finally learn the reason why. That's why I threw myself into this world of secrets and trickery. I thought that if I kept going, maybe one day I'd learn the truth. I guess we'll find out before this war is over. Right, Monarch?
I nod and give him a soft smile. It meant a lot that he opened up to me. It must suck to not know the truth of something like that. I can't even imagine. But it explains why he's so obsessed with learning about actions and motivations. We talked for a bit longer, about nothing important, before parting ways. Perhaps he wanted to ease the tension in the room after dropping those facts. After we're done, he seems happy, and we seem closer. There was no loss here today. That right there is why I want to believe that getting close enough with him will prevent that future from happening. Alright, let's talk to Valessa next. I step towards Valessa, who has her hands on the ship's railing. She seems lost in thought, but who wouldn't be after recent events? Careful not to startle her, I simply stand beside her and rest my hands too.
You know, for once I thought things were going well. We had an army, and it seemed like our objective was clear, but they outsmarted us. They caught us off guard. We were careless. They always say to be cautious if things are going too well, especially in war. We got blinded by the victory we thought we secured. Nobody thought to question our course of action, or Domic's orders. And I'm supposed to be the next elder of Valenorth. For the safety of our nation, I need to be better than this. I need to plan for every course of action, however unlikely. I just wish things could be clear, like they used to be. If things were difficult, our future was certain. We don't even know if we can secure this alliance.
Don't worry, Valessa, we'll make things work out.
I want to believe you, but I'm just not sure. We thought things would work out back at the Rebel HQ. Look how that turned out, Monarch. We were reckless. I don't want to sound mean, but I don't share those thoughts. It's important to take a step back and look at the big picture. That way, you don't get blinded and act based on your ego.
She lets out a loud sigh as we stare off into the horizon. The slow rocking of the ship pushes us closer together. With the distance closed, I can hear her more clearly. There's definitely more on her mind, I can tell. But I can't force her to open up, so I stand there in silence. My ears are open to her as long as she decides to speak.
I was so lost in thought, I couldn't sleep last night. I decided to help Alex prepare the ship for our voyage. We got to talking, and he told me something shocking. I'm not even sure if I should tell you this, Monarch, but I guess it's something you deserve to know. Remember how those people recognized us?
She must be talking about Grizz and Grayson. They both recognized us when we first met. Okay, I just realized that nobody even acknowledged Grizz's death. Yeah, it took this long until Valessa acknowledged Grizz. Poor guy.
They recognized us too. Immediately. I assumed it's because they knew our parents. But then they told me how they knew them.
She closes her eyes and looks up at the sky.
Our parents were pirates, Monarch. Feared, hated, legendary pirates. Sure explains their trips to Mazeo. At first I didn't believe it. I was lost in denial, but he kept telling me more and more, and I had to accept it. I always pictured our parents as these perfect, untarnished people. But they were killers. They broke the law. They pillaged. They were part of the reason the Triumvirate launched the occupation. I know what you're going to say. They wanted the idol. Piracy was a cover. And while you may be right, the excuse was still valid. At the end of the day, piracy was running rampant throughout Mazeo. Our parents played a part in giving them this perfect excuse. Don't you see? And in doing so, they are partly responsible for all of those deaths. We always thought they were innocent victims. But were they really? Honestly, I doubt I'll be doing much sleep tonight either, Monarch.
Oh, I was not expecting that. She lets out another sigh, even more exasperated than the last one.
Let's sum it up, shall we? There's no more spirit realm. Our belief system was shattered. Almost the entire rebellion was killed in action. We were tricked. And to top it all off, I'm the daughter of some ruthless pirate killers. How am I supposed to process all of this? How will you, your parents, my parents, Fortune's parents, all 6 of them. They're not the people we thought they were. What do we do?
All we can do is be better people than they were. She nods without offering a reply of her own. But I know she understands. This doesn't change much. The goals and the journey ahead of us would remain the same.
I'm just so lost, Monarch.
Honestly, part of me feels the same way. In that moment, there's nothing left to say. We stare off into the ocean, together. This was the turning point in all our lives. How we handle things would define who we become. Who we became. Our conversation ends with that thought. Bringing both hope and despair. Gosh. Hey, Fortem. Fortem paces around the deck of the ship, deep in thought. Everything changed over the last few days, so this was insane. I hope he's handling it well. I better go and see how he's doing.
Hey there, Monarch. There's something that's been driving me insane. You know how we were all freaking out about Valenorth? Without the heat from the spirits, it'd freeze over and die. I mean, we believed it, but right now, it doesn't make any sense. The spirit realm is a prison, right? Nothing mystical or beneficial. It matches up with what people outside of Valenorth were saying. We were just superstitious and lived in a unique location. The monarchy gave us visions, and nothing more. We'll have to ask Howl the moment we get the chance. If it's like I think it is, then Valenorth will be fine. No risk at all. As hard as these truths are to believe, they do have their benefits.
In talking to me, he stopped his pacing and he looks happy. It's true that a lot of our beliefs were shattered, but that's not a bad thing. A new understanding of the world gave us a new angle to tackle our problems from.
At least it'll make Valessa's job as Elder a lot easier. The one major problem she had to take care of, completely eliminated. I know it's stupid to say this now, but it seems like one last gift from the spirits. Let's just hope we get lucky like that in Alarinthia. Securing an alliance with barbarians sounds super difficult. They're stubborn in their tradition, just like Valenorth is known to be. But their tradition isn't steeped in the spirits like ours was. At the end of the day, will they even care about any of this? They almost live a world away, untouched by our problems. No point worrying about things out of our control, right? Maybe we should talk about something we do have power over. Remember that climbing gear Pro gave me money for? Well, check it out!
He wanders over to a bag on the deck and reaches inside. A few moments later, he produces some clawed metallic objects. It appears that there's one pair for your feet and one for your hands.
They're adjustable, so you can wear them no matter what. You don't need to look for a foothold anymore. You can make them yourself. As long as you're strong enough, there's nothing you can't climb, Monarch. I know what I'm doing as soon as we get back. I'm heading to Valenorth and climbing the Grand Tree. I want you to join me. It'll be a good place for you to learn. I know what you're thinking, though. Why would I learn to climb on something so difficult? Well, you have gear now. I never did. It's a huge advantage. The only thing holding you back will be your energy. But with everything we've been through, this should be simple. I think it'll only take a few hours to climb, if I'm totally honest. I'll bring us a backpack with a bunch of water. Or maybe we should split that over 2 backpacks. Don't want to make one of us carry too much weight.
He puts the climbing gear back in the bag, clearly excited. It's a breath of fresh air to hear him talk about this stuff so passionately. Everybody else is so concerned about the war. It's nice to just push that aside.
Anyway, it'll be nice to make some history together. Not many people can say they've been to the top of the Grand Tree. Maybe we'll start a trend, a sort of coming-of-age thing, you know?
I don't think I've seen him this excited in a long time. For a moment, it feels like all of my worries have simply washed away. They've slipped into the ocean, becoming nothing more than gentle ripples. Fortem starts to walk around the ship again and stretches his body. It's almost like he was preparing for the marathon of a lifetime. Of course, this had been a lifelong dream of his after all.
I know there's so much danger in our future, but there's happiness too, you know? Lots to look forward to in the end. Besides, I doubt I'll be key to our Alarinthian alliance, so in the meantime, there's not really anything else I can do. I've been practicing my climbing on the netting of the ship. People are worried that I'll fall off, but I tell them not to worry. It's very rare that I fall off, and I usually shake it off pretty quickly. I saw some of them get together and make some betting pools. It's a pretty boring voyage, so they make their own entertainment. I suddenly start to know why pirates enjoy fighting and gambling so much. When you're out at sea, there's just nothing much to do. It's pretty crazy. I'd go insane if I were a pirate. I just know it. After this war, I think I want to settle down on the mainland. Sailing isn't for me. I can say that with absolute certainty.
I'm not sure this life is for me either. It's just different. Valinor was a completely different atmosphere than any of this. Even Mazeo was a bit of a culture shock to me and my friends. I can't even imagine what Alamithia and Balteus will be like. I look off to the horizon. We must still be pretty far away. There's no sight of land ahead. How much farther to go?
Sorry for rambling on, but yeah, there's nothing else to do. I bet the other people will be able to keep your interest longer. But before you go, I have just one question to ask you.
He stops stretching and walks right up to me with a sly smirk.
Do we make it to the top or do we fail? What's your bet, Monarch? And no refusing. We're on a pirate ship, so we need to act like pirates.
I say we make it all the way to the top and make history.
Optimism? I love it. The other pirates didn't share that trait. They seem to actually look forward to failure. Though I guess that would be fun to watch. Can you imagine if I fell on the netting into the sea? They'd probably stand by and laugh rather than help. I guess we can figure that out when the time comes. Which, as I'm starting to realize, is pretty darn soon. Think of some ideas in your off time, alright? We'll announce the terms before we climb.
With a smirk and a wink, he quickly runs off on his way. Full of energy, it seems, or perhaps he's going stir crazy. I don't blame him, being stuck at sea with nothing else to do. I guess our goal was clear. We'd climb the Grand Tree. That is, if we ever made it back from Alamithia in one piece. His ability to focus on the positive stuff during war is admirable. Admirable, if not a bit naive. Hopefully I could join in his positivity. But this blade on my back, both literally and figuratively, weighs me down. I might leave it on the surface when we climb. Yeah, that would make things easier. A lot easier. Morton's loyalty scene is now available when you return to the mainland. Alright. Hopefully the game will let me do Ulrich's loyalty scene first before 4 terms. Alright, one more to go. We'll talk with Howl now. Howl stares off into the ocean, deep in contemplation. I imagine that he'd have a lot to think about and a lot to process. Last time we talked, he seemed conflicted about whether or not he fit in.
Monarch.
He turns to face me and gives me a small wave, welcoming me. I stand beside him, and we stare off into the ocean together. The sun causes it to glisten, sparkling with a gentle beauty.
We're still conflicted. These thoughts won't go away. Visions of needless violence and senseless destruction. You may tell us that they aren't real, but we are unsure. The emotions that well up within us are far too real. Is it possible for fake events to elicit real emotions? Or are we perhaps hearing echoes of the past?
Echoes of the past? What does he mean?
Let us phrase it differently. You know visions, yes? The monarchy used them to guide us to the best possible future. How can you know that best possible future without trial and error? There would still be many futures left unseen, and many pasts avoided. Knowing one true course of action requires disregarding millions of wrong ones. What if we are simply seeing these many avenues, almost like our visions have evolved? If not evolved, then perhaps gotten muddled. Rather than see the one important future, we see everything. We do not know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, Monarch.
It kind of makes sense when you think about it. Seeing the best possible future was like one side of a coin. The other side still exists, and it's left covered up, unseen. Many wrong futures, many wrong choices made. The mind likely blocked these out for a reason. Maybe he's sensitive after escaping his prison.
If this is true, then we exist unbound from time. A string in a labyrinth, with no one holding the other side. No one to tug. No one to guide us in the right direction. No one, of course, except for you. Our visions may be useless at the moment, but are yours. We would recommend that you try inducing a vision, Monarch. Not right now, of course, but in your own time. However, when you do, we would request a favor. If you see the future, embrace it, but also look into the past. The future you see blossoms from choice and consequence. Look back at those choices made, and conjure up the choices unmade. The loss, the heartbreak, the death. Maybe then you will know what pains us.
He's plagued with bad visions. He no longer sees the one true future. He sees everything, and that is a curse that I would wish upon nobody. I can't even imagine how many times he's seen us all die, and for what?
There is only one thing that remains constant throughout these visions. Yourself, the Blade of Exodus, and the death it feeds off of. There is something self-serving about all three of these things. You always have that blade, and the people around you always die. When they do, it's almost like that makes the blade more powerful. It's like there's an essence released from our bodies when we pass on. But is that the essence of life, or the essence of death? Perhaps that is a choice the wielder of the blade must make. What do you think, Monarch? Is that energy life, or is it death?
When we die, I think our spirit is released. That's our life.
An interesting thought, to say the least. If it's up to the wielder, at least we know where you stand. That blade is such a mysterious thing, and it grows ever stronger.
He's almost cryptically telling me what I already know. I know that the blade deals with the spirits of its victims. The Triumvirate used it to create their own massive army. Even if it kept a portion of every soul, it would get stronger with every kill. That, combined with the power of the monarchy inside, immense power. A bit ironic if a portion of everybody the Triumvirate killed was used to end them.
We wonder if you possess this ability as well, to see the past, even when you stand in the present. Is that a curse meant only for us, or a gift to be further honed? It eludes our understanding, and we wish to know for sure. When we come back to the mainland, please return to Valinor. Close your eyes, concentrate on the past, and talk to your comrades. Do they speak as they do now, or as they did back then? We think that this answer will be very enlightening for us, and if it is, then maybe you can understand our plight. How do we know where we are if our surroundings fluctuate? What if we already had this conversation, and this is but an echo? Perhaps we reside at the end of time, simply witnessing our demise.
Okay, now he's lost me.
Sorry, we must appear insane. It's just hard, not being grounded in the present. The one downside of visions, being lost in time. Dreaming of that brighter future, and ignoring the present, looking back on the past, and focusing on our mistakes. We experience this tenfold, even mistakes we did not make. When we see your death, we feel pain, a pain worse than death, the loss of hope. That blade falls to the ground, coated in your blood. Comrades scream in agony as they befall the same fate. Then why do we stand there, only capable of watching, We wish to help you avoid this fate. That is our duty. We apologize for the lack of sense, Monarch. Your time is more valuable than that, limited as it is. Perhaps next time, we will make more sense of everything. But try not to forget our advice and our request. We know there's a purpose for all of this. There must be. Together, we will find it, rather than stand here and complain.
I nod before leaving him behind. He was suffering, I could tell. I had enough trouble dealing with visions of the future. Hal must feel tortured. If there was anything I could do to help him out, I'd have to do it when I had the chance. It's possible that his body just doesn't know how to handle all of that energy. I was trained at a young age to handle it, so I had a grasp of what I should be doing. Is it possible that, unless trained, someone's mind could be lost in the sea of time? Perhaps, I suppose, but that is a topic for another day. I returned to the deck of the ship, keeping a watchful eye on my comrades. On my watch, they would never meet the grisly fate that Hal had witnessed. For a moment, I decided to stare into the sea, watching the waves and ripples. I could have looked ahead to the future, towards Alawinthia, a final destination. But for a moment, I considered looking away from the path we've set in stone. The sea continues to move, living a life of its own, despite our interference. Heavy. Well, Alawinthia is our next destination. We've done the Heart to Hearts that we can currently do. This is a good spot to end it. Next time we stream Winds of Change, we can start Act 4. Man. It feels like a long game. Yeah, Minotaur. I actually looked up the playtime, and if I do everything, it's around 15 hours. I mean, one playthrough and doing the side stuff is like around 15 hours. According to my current file, I played 12 hours. So you can tell that I'm taking my time with it and doing as much as I can. Anyway, that'll be it for today's stream, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. And Minotaur, thanks again for the raid. I really appreciate it. I'm considering streaming Splatoon 3 tomorrow, since Splatfest is happening. I'll let you know. I'll announce it if I stream tomorrow. Until then, if you enjoyed the stream, follow the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future streams. If you really enjoy my content and want to help me continue what I do, you can support me by subscribing to the channel, donating, buying me a coffee, or becoming a member of my Patreon to support the creation of my novel, Guardian Tales. I also have a Discord if anyone is interested in joining. I want to make it a comfy, cozy place for people to hang out, share their interests, play games together, D&D, writing, etc. I'll put the links in the chat for anyone interested. Yeah. Man, I'm still processing how intense Act 3 was. And all those plot twists. Insane. I love it. I would love to continue Winds of Change tomorrow. But I might stream Splatoon 3 and the Splatfest, honestly. we'll see. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna look for someone to raid, so give me a minute. My hands are kind of shaking. I definitely need a break. I'll have a nice dinner, as I do after every stream. We're gonna raid Barret the Cleric. So, I'll start the stream. Okay, thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Oh, I love the Incineroar emote, Bowser KK. Alright, see ya.